Oh, hey, bitch. Oh, excuse you. Baloney wash. I'm annoyed. I'm just here to give my opinion and carry Annie. Oh, it's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Y'all, welcome and happy Tuesday. It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, a show we basically talk about all things going on in celebrity news, pop culture, hot topics, all that good stuff. So that's a show for you. Definitely stick around because we got a lot of tea to spill today, including I got to give you my overall thoughts on the Dula Peep Radical Optimism MSG 4 night situation. So we can get into that. Speaking of concerts, Bad Bunny definitely did his big one with the Amazon live stream one that he just did with his final residency in Puerto Rico. We're gonna get into that and the numbers and his big deal with Amazon because of that. It looks like we're getting ourselves a sleepaway camp reboot with Kenan Thompson producing it, which is like an odd pairing, but we'll get into that whole story. It's one of my favorite movies. Plus, we got to talk Hayden Panettiere allegedly being coming back as Kirby Reed in Scream 7. There's a Scream star who basically opened up on why he calls Billy and Stu the first husbands of horror. So they're saying that that's our first queer couple that we had in the Scream franchise, or maybe even horror. Holly Marie Combs is calling out Charm producers for firing Shannen Doherty. So she reflected, as well as Brian Krause. They were talking about it on a podcast, and they basically called out a production for the way they handled her firation at the time when she was fired from the show. So we get into that. Plus, it looks like that Aunt Gladys prequel that I still am kind of like, what? I mean, I like Aunt Gladys, but I'm like a whole movie surrounding like before she did what she did in Weapons. Apparently, Zach Kreger says that it is not BS. It's an actual thing. They're trying to develop it. So we'll get into that. Plus, um, Pamela Anderson is basically teaming up with her sons and producing one of her movies that I absolutely love, Barb Wire. I have a soft spot for that film, even though the movie is terrible. I love that freaking movie. I went to the movies to see it. But they're developing a TV version of it. Plus, one of her classic shows that she was a part of is actually was greenlit at Fox. So we'll talk about that as well. And we definitely got to talk about The View and all the dragarization they got regarding this whole Jimmy Kimmel situation and how Whoopi decided to lash out at the audience because y'all got called out for pussing out on speaking out about the whole Jimmy Kimmel suspension. So we'll get into that. Diddy is trying yet another stunt, another angle on getting out of prison before his sentence in like what is it, 2 weeks? So we'll get into that. Plus, we have ASAP Rocky news. He recently did an interview and called out Drake for this whole Kendrick Lamar UMG lawsuit. And we have some great news regarding RuPaul's Drag Race UK. It's been greenlit for season 9, even though we haven't even gotten season 8 yet. Season 8 is supposed to premiere in 2 days, and they already made the announcement about season 9. So we'll get into that and how you could send in your audition tapes and all that good stuff. So before we get to those topics, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. And also be sure to smash that notification bell so that way you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. And as y'all know, as I do in every episode, I put the timestamps in once everything is done, like the whole live stream, all that good stuff. So be on the lookout for that. And I see we have some people in the room already. And Umbria is here. Hola chismosa. We have yes, freedom, I can't move. Freedom cut me loose. Hey, hey. Let's have my Beyonce moment. Child, she was on the view this morning. I've seen a couple of clips. We'll get into that. But yeah, she's out here promoting that book. Cleveland's in the building. I saw a clip of her on Rachel Maddow. Yeah, she was on the view this morning too. And the View wasted no time putting up the interview and all that other stuff on their YouTube channel. So y'all care to watch, her tone, her promote this tone deaf ass book. Then be my guest. This is the worst pain I felt since my mom died when I lost the presidency. I'm like, ma'am, you were tracking quiet as it's kept. You were tracking from the beginning, not to win. Um, the situation. So while I'm sitting here watching myself back because I was like, I need to make sure the lighting was good on because sometimes when I be doing these videos, the lighting I be like, the lighting make me look like I'm washed out, and I had to do a little fixerization. So it looked fine on the other end. All right, y'all. So now, without further ado, let's get into topic number one, which is let's talk about Dula Peep, who some of y'all may also know as Dua Lipa. Now, I had low expectations when it came to Dula Peep's concert because we've seen how like low energy she could be when it comes to like a lot of her performances. It always seemed like she was holding back a little bit. And then when she did what's the name of that song? One dance is all it takes. I would thought she was gonna come out and do that little dance. Remember that little dance she would do and we would make fun of it? I thought she was gonna do that. She didn't. Um, but I have to tell you, I loved her stage setup. She had two pits. So she had like a front pit, so there was like no seats in the floor, which I always like that during concerts because it'd be nerve wracking when you work in the floor and trying to get people to their seats and we have to chalk up the chairs. And I'm like, my lower back be killing me by the time I'm done chalking up chairs and the floor and all that other stuff. She had two pits. So she had one little pit that was like near the stage. I thought she would have like a long catwalk similar to Lady Gaga when Lady Gaga did well, she's still doing the Mayhem Ball. But no, she had a small little what do you call it? She had a small catwalk and this little like circular thing, which at one point when she performs, she does have fire. And, when she performs in a little fire pit, she was giving choreography. The concert was high energy. And one of the things I liked about we call her Dula Peep because of Wendy Williams. So one of the things I liked about Dula Peep is the fact that she played a lot of disco music, even before like when I don't know, but I'm sure y'all know if you've ever gone to a concert, before the show starts, the type of music that they play in there. For Lady Gaga and the Mayhem Ball, she's playing opera because welcome to the opera house, as she likes to say. But Dula Peep is playing disco music. So they was playing Diana Ross. I was sitting there getting my life when a lot of the Diana Ross was up in there. They was playing Chic, and we'll get into that in a second, into the Method of the Madness, because she did bring out Nile Rodgers on the night that I worked, which was Saturday. And people didn't even know who he was until she did a cover of Le Freak. Which well, maybe you don't know, but every night when she does a show, she will pick a song I guess in the town that she's in, and she does a cover song where it's not like Lady Gaga will go in her little book and play the piano, and she'll just sing a song that's not included in the situation. She could just play it like Hair or whatever. She can go in there and do that. No, Dula Peep be out there just pulling out songs. So I know she did "No One" by Alicia Keys. Quiet as it's kept, she's saying the song better than Alicia Keys because Alicia vocals. I think the way she writes her songs and stuff, them register that she was able to do when she was 22. Now that she pushing 50, she can't hit them notes no more. So that's her fault. So, but Dua Lipa, she was actually hitting them notes, and I was surprised because I always thought like maybe Dua was not like the best singer. Oh no, she sings down, and I do like her deep raspy British voice because at points she did come out into the audience and she talked to the crowd and she took selfies. There was one guy that was like, "Oh, can you wish his sister and I guess her fiance like whatever because he said oh she would die and they basically just like traded banter back and forth so she's very personable with the audience which I know doesn't register in other situations because one of our main complaints when we talk about Dula Peep is the fact that she lacks a personality which I kind of was saying that might be an Albanian thing because when you look at people like Ava Max, who's the other one, Rita Ora, who I like to call Rita Snora because she be boring sometimes. And that even with Dula Peep, I just be feeling like, where's the personality with you, girl? Y'all just be so serious. But no, she be getting down. And I didn't realize how tall she was too. She's a tall girl. She's very gorgeous in person. And she delivered throughout the show. It was high energy. She was giving choreography. It was just like not a moment that you had to sit your behind down and be up off your feet. Like you literally, as Madonna said during the confessions talk, make sure you have on your dancing shoes because there was plenty of that to go around. There was this one girl that was in front of me because when I'm secure, like watching everything, I'm not supposed to do specifically. So I'm probably going to leave things out. because a lot of times, especially when you're in the 100s on the sixth floor, that's the busy floor. So you have to make sure that everything is going the way it needs to be going. You can't not be distracted and just paying too much attention to the concert. So there were moments I had to like turn away because as far as I'm working, I'm always on orange alert, which is you don't want to be on white alert. White alert is basically you just sitting there watching the show. You're not paying attention to what the people needs are. And I heard somebody got punched in the face. Some guy got drunk and just randomly punched some dude in the face, and that was on a night that I didn't work. So things be happening because people are crazy and people don't know how to handle their alcohol. But um, what was it? Oh, so I always have to be paying attention to what's going on and stuff. So I can't really be just like, oh, I'm sitting there watching a show as if I'm just watching it and getting paid to watch a show. I have to be on it, securing the premises and making sure I'm doing what needs to be done. So, yeah, there was a lot of really cool moments and stuff. I love the outfit. The cheeks was out. She got a nice little booty too. Well, it's not booty. Them cheeks was cheeking. So, I know a lot of people be talking about, well, why the girls be half naked and stuff? Because it's fucking hot. That's why. When you up on that stage, you doing a lot of choreography. I'm not getting up there in a goddamn moo doing like a Mrs. Roper gown, doing 8 count. Like who's doing that? And that's why I hate when people get so uppity and overly conservative. Oh, they always gonna be naked. I'm like, yeah, because if I'm doing a lot of choreography and stuff, I need to be comfortable. So I'm not gonna sit up there and just be dressed all, like a damn nun and wearing a habit or whatever and a gown. Because if I trip over it, like Gaga actually did when she performed Killer the other day, I seen that clip that's floating around online where she tried to, turn and she was trying to pump up do her little runway walk up the catwalk and she almost tripped on the train of the dress and she caught herself before she ate it. So you got to worry about those, like those little details and all this other stuff. But yeah, so the night that I worked, she had Nile Rodgers, but the closing night she had Lenny Kravitz, which I was mad about because I wasn't able to work that one. So because I was at Citi Field watching the Mets lose as usual. So, um, yeah, she performs. She's very personal with the audience. There's moments where she does her little ballad moment or whatever. So she can show y'all, she can sing. I definitely love the setup, like I said about the catwalk and stuff. But there was also like a big giant screen that was in the background that I was absolutely liking, and the runway, like there was like I don't know what you call it, but it kind of looked like a bridge or whatever that's kind of like before the catwalk, or whatever. Like you know how like when people like them, well, it's like the center of the stage where they like to make their entrance. That little part of it that had like a little wave or whatever. So I was like, okay, that looks cool. And then we had like the little beach water and all that stuff in the background, the screen. So yeah, it was a great show. If you are feeling a little optimistic on the optimism and don't know if this is a show you should check out, definitely see her live because she surprised the hell out of me. So I may not have liked Radical Optimism as a record because she kind of didn't continue within that whole disco music era, which I kind of wish she would have played more into because she's kind of giving me like she to me, when I look at Dua Lipa, I could definitely see her as this generation's equivalent of Cher. Like she gives me that with the hair, the overall look, the way she sings and the way she carries herself and stuff. Like she gives me Cher down. So I could definitely see her kind of taking that mantle, but doing more of the disco. I'm not saying you got to be doing Believe, but the direction you was going into where you were kind of looking back on a lot of the old school disco type music and using a live band and bringing that funk and even having Nile Rodgers come out and play that damn bass guitar while you were singing, Chic, Le Chic or Le Freak by Chic. That's the name of the song, Le Freak by Chic. Freak out. So when she came out and she did that, I was like, okay, I was living. And the funny part was, most of the people didn't even know who the hell he was. I was like, how y'all don't know who the hell Nile Rodgers is? But then I'll be forgetting, as a music connoisseur and a man of a certain age, of course I would know. But still, age ain't a damn excuse because I be knowing people that be in their damn 20s that know who a lot of the older musicians are. But I think if you're a fan of music and you know music, it doesn't matter. Age is not an excuse for wanting to know or discover a musical talent. So, shout out to you, Dula Peep. I definitely like the show. I wish I would have been able to work more than once, so I could have taken the show more in and given more in depth opinion or commentary on the concert, like I was able to do with Lady Gaga. Because out of the 6 shows, I worked 5 of them, so I was able to see like work in so many different parts of the arena where I was able to catch the concert from every angle. Even there were things I wasn't able to see before I was able to catch it. So now the next one I'm looking forward to, because she coming out with a new album in 2026. I'm looking forward to Miss Madonna going and doing herself a tour, because she's going on tour with this new record. So and I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Have you seen the Dula Peep Radical Optimism tour? Have you been, seeing the clips online? Have you been able to go to the tour? What are your overall thoughts? Or were you thinking about going to see the tour and you weren't sure if you wanted to get a ticket because you weren't a fan of the last record? But she definitely, gave it with this tour. So even if you're not a fan of the album, she definitely, with the track listing and all the song selections and the choreography and the costumes and everything else that's going on with the show, it's a well-oiled machine, so definitely check it out if you want. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Hello, everyone. I was listening to the audiobook of 107 Days a few hours ago. I got to chapter 3. Is that the Kamala book? Child, I don't even know the name of it. Because I don't plan on reading it. Don't sit up in there and like I want some excerpts before I decide to go and read a book or listen to it. But y'all let me know how it is. But she keep telling everybody, read the book, read the book. No, bitch, don't tell me to read no damn book. I'll read it when I want to read it, but I want to know if there's some juiciness in it. If you really gonna go in and let have, or you gonna be like Richie Torres and a lot of these other and Hakeem Apac Shakur Jeffries, these coons that be so damn happy that these white people gave them a leg up and was able to help them get to where they are politically, that they feel like, oh, well, they've done so much to help me get through the door. I don't want to rock the boat and make it look like I'm ungrateful. So I'm not going to really give y'all what needs to be given. You need to, like, I want to know in the book, are you going to talk about all the people that sabotage your campaign when you and Tim Walz was actually going in and was winning in the surging in the polls because y'all started calling Trump and all of them weird over some of the other stuff they were doing, and then you had Biden people slithering behind, the scenes like the damn slithering they are, and went around and saying, "Oh no, y'all need to dial back on the hate and all that other stuff. You can't go at them like that." Oh, so we supposed to just get the beating, and we supposed to do that when they go low, we go high bullshit. I don't think so. Like, no, I'm fighting petty with petty, which is kind of like what Gavin Newsom is doing. And funnily enough, well, you know what? I'm gonna say that Gavin Newsom thing that I want to say when we get to the Jimmy Kimmel thing because I feel like it fits more there than this conversation. But if you're not gonna tell it, if you're not gonna give me what needs to be given, then I don't want to read the book. I don't want no Disney-fied kid, bullshit situation. Like I want to know the tea. I want to know how long you were aware of the dementia dimensioning on what's the last president name? Joe Biden. I want to know if you knew, if you're gonna put it out there, because we all know that his mind was bad during his term. But we were so pissed off at Trump before. We need to get his monkey ass out. But then we go and vote him back in. Well, not me. I didn't vote for him, but those who did. I watched the video this morning. Alyssa surprisingly didn't say anything unless besides the one question she asked at the beginning of the interview. I didn't check out the interview. I saw I actually watched the whole thing. What I was doing, I was watching a bunch of other stuff. But while I was putting the show together, but the only thing I watched of the View was the when Whoopi and that clip that I'm going to show y'all when we get to the Whoopi Goldberg and the View and all that other stuff of them kind of going in on us for dragging them for being silent on that whole Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Fallon is always going to be an ass kisser, so we ain't got to worry about him actually rocking the boat and getting fired over saying something inappropriate. He always likes to toe the line because he likes where the money resides. So you ain't never got to worry about that Jimmy stepping out of line. So I don't know, which is why I don't understand why Trump lumped him in and called him a loser. I guess anybody that he feels is on NBC and he thinks is Democrat is the enemy. Because I don't know if y'all saw that Charlie Kirk circus that passes a memorial, but he said he hates his opponents, which is not something you should be saying, especially after Miss Mama's with that bad Barbie doll hair pieces that she had up her head. Because that shit looked like something straight off a Barbie doll's scalp or out of one. So I don't know who did her hair, but it must have been some self-hating homosexual man from Tennessee that put that shit in her head. But anyway, so after she said, "Oh, I forgive the man who done pow my husband in the neck," Mango Mussolini decided to get up there for like damn near an hour and ramble and act like it was a goddamn rally. So, and nobody seemed to have a problem with that. I'm like, so is this not a memorial or? And I need this Red Bull, child. I've been working 8 days straight. I am exhausted, and I only slept 4 hours because I had to buy new headphones this morning. So, and Amazon dropped them off at like 7 in the damn morning, and I don't be trusting these hoes because then people be out here trying to steal stuff. Yeah, well, yeah, she's clumsy. And yeah, I got a haircut on Friday. Um, it was time because I ain't having my hair. I haven't had it. I haven't. Shit, I can't even talk today. I haven't cut it in like 2 months, almost 2 months. So I was like, oh no, it's time. Well, you could say it like Mariah. Well, I can't hit that note. So it was time. So I had to go down to child, let me tell you, haircuts in New York is so goddamn expensive. It's like $50 that you paying. That's like the haircut and the tip and all that other stuff. Not. Oh, I thought you said not dull a peep. I'm not saying she gonna give you like full on Madonna as personality. You got the dark sense of humor, but it was yes, it's the Kamala book. It's basically a diary retelling of the campaign day by day. I'm taking notes and okay. Well, definitely let me know how the book is, and I might actually change my mind and listen to it. I just hope on her next album she redeems herself. Are we still talking about, as you like to call her, dull upbeat? I hope so too, because I did not like that Radical Optimism album. I only listened to it once. I was like, ma'am, this is enough for me. Just like Cardi B, because y'all said everybody out here talking about how great that Cardi B album is. I'm like, where? Because I listened to it and I was so underwhelmed. I never even got to the Janet Jackson track. That's how much I was just like, okay, I'm over it. Because it felt like it wasn't inspired. There's some cute songs on there. I like Bodega Baddie. The problem with that song is it's too damn short. It's like, who produced this shit? Pink Pantheress? Like, why is this song so damn short? So I was like, that's a cute song, but how the cute songs is not like, it just feels like, I know some people get mad at me for saying this, but you want to know something? A friend of mine who's a DJ put the nail right on the head when we were talking about Beyonce, because everybody talks about, I don't know what it was, but oh, I know what it was. I was having a conversation about Madonna, her new album. Somebody was like, I hope she don't be trying to do like Beyonce's Renaissance. And I was like, wait a minute. Now I know we're not going there with that because number one, Beyonce was taking homage from a lot of different people. She was paying homage to Madonna, she was paying homage to ballroom, she was paying homage to the gay community, whatever, whatever, whatever. So she was taking a lot from those eras in the 70s and the 80s and all that other stuff. Could not articulate the words on why I particularly was like, okay, Renaissance is cute, but it never really like gave me my life and me being a house head. And I think it's because that album feels like a bunch of unfinished demos rather than a full on, fully realized record. It's just like 50 ideas going along, and there's a hodgepodge of things y'all just threw together, and it just don't feel like a fully realized album to me. There's some songs on it that stand out. However, it do feel like a bunch of mishmash of demos. It don't feel like it's a fully realized record. So, um, as you say with Dula Peep, I do hope she redeems herself. But um with the Madonna new album, Disco House is sort of like making its resurgence or whatever. And for those who are not familiar with what Disco House would sound like, if you've ever heard from artists like Purple Disco Machine, that's kind of like what they do. It's like this really fun, happy-go-lucky type of dance music. And I love their stuff. They sound really good. You know who they also remind me of? It's like when you listen to like Purple Disco Machine, also Chromeo. I love Chromeo stuff. Two guys, and it's kind of like it's a lot of keyboards. It very much feels very retro, very 80s, that whole vibe. Another DJ I've always been obsessed with. Anytime he puts out a DJ set, I'm like, oh no, you got me in. You got me locked in. Armand Van Helden. That man can do no wrong in my eyes. That man come out with a DJ set, I'm there for it. Jody Harsh, anytime she puts out, it's a drag queen, but anytime she put out a DJ set, I'm here for it. Like those are the people. I'm more of a DJ head and a house head than an artist head. But I will say this, I'm looking forward to that Doja Cat album. Quiet as a Cat, it might be better than what Cardi gave us this past week. Because at least Doja's doing concepts and she's inspired. But I feel like Cardi is in the same category that y'all like to put a lot of these major artists like the Nickies or whatever the case is. Y'all be wanting to hype these girls up to be this Ace Boon Coon of like they're gonna save rap and all this other stuff. And then we listen to the music and it just be mid. I'm like, this is what you're giving? The hype be better than the actual product. And that's what I feel. I go to the hair school, but I tip not the hair school. Wait, isn't that what, like when people just learning how to cut hair? Because the child, if you make me come out here and give me like one of those Hitler ass bowl cuts. Oh no, I'm going to have to cut you. You said I cut my long rocker hair the Friday before last week. Not a mullet. You cut it all off. Well, you said you have a mullet. You want to know something? The other day I was thinking about that too, and I was gonna post it on social media. I know y'all would have cussed me out. I was like, um, I'm thinking about maybe my next haircut instead of getting like a high skin fade, I might want to do a mullet. I don't know why, but I'm feeling a little hillbilly-ish. I like the song that sampled "What's Up" with Lizzo more than the song with the Janet sample. Cardi spelled. That's what I was saying too. Like, girl, why did you spell principal like the principal of a school? Um, I don't know if that was intentional or girl, you dyslexic, but somebody should have caught that. Or ask you, is this what you mean? But maybe you got a bunch of not so brights running your label that could probably just caught that error. But who knows? Maybe the next time around they'll correct it. I don't know how that works. But yeah. But what's up by Four Non Blondes? Lizzo singing that child. Somebody did say this, and it did remind me of that. I'm like, perfect. It was giving like a jingle to a commercial. That's what it was giving when she said the way she was singing that part. And I'm like, why couldn't you just ask Linda Perry? You instead of you singing having Lizzo get up on it and doing like one of her her little commercial jingle type voices. It was giving very much proud family tease the way she was singing on that track. That part, exactly. Here comes her singing like she in Trolls, which is what Justin Timberlake gave us with that stupid "Can't Stop the Feeling." I hate that song, and I don't hate a lot of shit, but I hate that fucking song with a passion. "Can't Stop the Feeling." I like to stop you from singing that goddamn song. So Doja album cover is very divisive. It doesn't have an '80s aesthetic. Yeah, I don't understand the point of that. Like, why is she hanging from a tree, from a parachute, and it is kind of tone deaf because sis, there've been a lot of hangings that's been going on in the US of A for the past month. So kind of change that cover. You know what it was giving me? It did it is it me or did it remind you of Miley Cyrus? Remember when Miley Cyrus did that same pose? Except she wasn't hanging from a tree. But it kind of was giving me Miley Cyrus tease. I do feel like she needs to go back and give me very much like Alexis Carrington. I need shoulder pads, I need big hair. Like if you're trying to do 80s, girl, give me 80s. What you should have been doing is looking at them old school freaking records that I grew up having with my parents with the vinyl. You should have been studying Prince. You should have been studying Madonna. You should have been studying Rick James. You should have been studying all of those type of um album covers. But that album cover is like if you're paying homage to the 80s, why are you giving me as thank you for putting the album cover the album name in there? Why are you giving me Miley Cyrus Endless Summer Vacation? Why was you giving me that? It's like, quiet as it's kept, I did hear that the album's gonna bomb too, but you ain't hear that from me. I mean, you're not the only one that was saying it. Sailor Mermaid's in the building. Let's put this up here one more time. Okay, because she was giving troll tease the way she was singing. The one thing I hate about Red Bull, you gotta drink that shit quick before it get warm. Otherwise it tastes nasty. But anyway, yeah, it's been a long time since I've been with y'all. So it's like we back in the house. All right, y'all. So now, speaking of people who's not bombing, let's talk about Bad Bunny. So shout out to Benito Ocasio I wanted to call him Cortez so bad. But no, that's AOC. But anyway, so Benito Ocasio, because that's I wasn't gonna say his whole damn name, but I might in the story. But yeah, shout out to him. Over the weekend, he dropped his the last night of the residency. I think it was the 20th, where it aired live. It was a live stream on Prime Video. Broke all kinds of records. I was upset I didn't get to watch it because I was working the Dua Lipa concert. So I wasn't able to see it. But then I was trying to see if maybe because I thought like it'd be like the other streaming service, like if you miss a show or whatever, if you miss the first live stream, that they'll continue to have it up there for a while, and I could just watch the playback. No, no such thing. It wasn't there no more, so I'm mad. But I'm hoping and praying that somebody was smart enough to record it and post it up on the YouTube so I could watch it that way. But nevertheless, and I didn't even check to see if it was up on the YouTube yet. Like a lot of concerts end up on there. Remember Madonna when she had her when she live streamed her last tour from Brazil, that version of the tour is currently still up on YouTube. So I'm sure that somebody will probably have done that with Bad Bunny. But nevertheless, shout out to Benito, his little cute self, because he closed out his 31 night historic residency at San Juan's El Choli on Saturday with a massive finale show that the whole world watched online. So, um, the Puerto Rican superstar brought out Mark Anthony for an emotional duet, party with Jowl and Randy, and paid tribute to the island's rich history during a nearly 4 hour show. Jesus, I'm like, child, he Taylor Swift. You out here doing damn near 4 hour shows? I can't. You know what? First of all, shout out to a lot of these amazing talents who have that energy and stamina to be up there and doing a 4 hour show. Wouldn't actually mind seeing a concert that was that long. I mean, quite as good if I was working it. I would be getting paid overtime. But for the most part, a nearly 4 hour show that well, I guess because he had brought out a lot of people and it was a special show. That's probably why it was longer. But I would like to know generally, those of you who have attended this concert, how long is the actual show? That's what I want to know. So on Monday, Amazon Music revealed that the live stream of the concert, titled Una Mas, which aired on the music streaming service Prime Video and Twitch, shattered viewership. Well, I didn't know it was on Twitch. Shattered viewership records for a single artist performance. While exact numbers have not been released, the show was the most watched single artist performance on Amazon Music to date, according to the platform. And I will say this: the one thing about um Prime Video, they do post a lot of concerts up. Apple TV does it too. I remember they did one with Camila Cabello, which I actually watched that one when it was on Prime. I mean, not Prime, when it was on Apple TV. Um, and Prime Video has a couple of concert stuff on there, but I don't think a lot of the artists who are up there have that same cultural impact that Bad Bunny happens to have with the type of audience that he attracts. So they said, quote, I have always had the same passion, love for what I'm doing. I promise I will never change. I love you, Puerto Rico. I love you, mom and dad, Bad Bunny said on stage during an emotional speech at the end of the show, saying, quote, it doesn't matter what your issue or problem is, love will always be the solution. It'd be nice if the current administration understood that, or all the extremists on both sides, the Democratic side and the Republican side. I wish I kind of understood that. But I guess it's easy to peddle hate than to spread love, which is one of the things I think, like, at the end of the day, why music is such a universal language is because through music, even if you don't understand what they're saying, it's just like the energy, the passion, what people put in the music, particularly a Bad Bunny, it resonates with so many people. And shout out to him also for doing the residency in PR, because what it's done is blown up the tourism situation out there. So the restaurants and the hotels have been busier than normal because a lot of people have been traveling out to PR to see this residency. And so with him actually giving back to his country, or to his island, I should say, because Puerto Rico, whether you want to believe it or not, is a part of the United States. So um with that being said, the fact that they've drawn and they've he's brought so much revenue to the place with this residency. I'm just happy to see that I'm just hoping that the culture is still rich with all that stuff there and not gonna be gentrified. Even though there was a video that he did, I remember when he was promoting this record, there was like a little short film that he put out where it was kind of like that, where the one of the older gentlemen that lived out there was struggling a little bit trying to navigate through this newly gentrified place that he called home. So that resonated with me too when I really that really hit me when I watched that video because I totally understand it. So now the live stream was just the start of Bad Bunny's multi-year partnership with Amazon, which will work with his Good Bunny Foundation to help the island develop on several sectors, including education, technology, agricultural support, and economic development. And it said that you have to have artists who jump in. And it's funny how they always say, well, artists need to stop, get up on stage, shut up and sing, don't be political, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, it's these artists that be the one that's stepping up to start foundations so they can help develop the nations, including like what he was saying with his foundation, which would develop several sectors, and him teaming up with Prime, with Amazon will bring that, which would be, as I stated, education, technology, agricultural support, and economic development. So when you're doing all that, instead of politicians should be doing this, no, it's easy to cut and dismantle things instead of helping your fellow person, get a leg up and be able to do things in the world. But that's not what y'all want. Y'all want to keep people down here while y'all continue to grow and steal and take away from the little people or deport them, because that's what Trump's obsessed with, thanks to that evil ass gremlin, Stephen Miller, who's always yelling. I'm like, sir, why are you always yelling? Like, bring it down. Your wife not giving like the pussy ain't giving you what need to be given. Like, why are you always so angry and full of animosity? Like, she clearly ain't doing her job. Anyway. So they said, quote, by combining music, Amazon technologies, commerce, and community programs at scale, we're engaging global audiences to this historic moment while strengthening Puerto Rican communities. This is what Rocio Guerrero, a Amazon Music executive, said. Fans can continue watching for 24 hours following the show's conclusion as well. Yeah, and I missed that damn 24-hour window because, like I said, I've been busy. I was working. I did not have time. Like, I told you I worked literally 8 days straight. So Monday was I think Monday was like the only day, I can't remember. The days done blurred. So I didn't even get a chance to sit. Like, by the time I was actually able to sit down and watch it, I went over to Prime, and then it wasn't available anymore. So yeah, I'm gonna go and look on YouTube and see if it's up there, and I'm watching a legal version of it. But hopefully, it's a good copy. Now, they also said like most of the shows during the residency run, Bad Bunny packed the show with guests. He brought out Nengo Flo and Jowell and Randy for Safera, with both Davey and Reno for a pair of duets. Archangel and De La Ghetto jumped in at the end of the set to exchange rap verses for Hacho PR and Nadie sabe lo que va pasar mañana. Say that 10 times fast. To conclude the performance, Bad Bunny played a song that serves up a sort of national anthem for La Isla del Encanto. He brought out Icon Mark Anthony for a heartfelt duet of Preciosa, and the PR flag displayed on the ceiling of Echoli. The song, originally written by composer Rafael Hernandez Marin in 1937, is a love letter to PR. So I love the fact that we have somebody here who actually takes pride in where he's from and has really gone forth to educate, like how Beyonce did with Cowboy Carter and all this other stuff. He's out here edutaining the people by showing like the pride. And I've always known, like, if you've grown up in New York, which is a mental pot, it is mental, but a melting pot of people. And if you, as someone who has grown around, my family is from my grandfather, great grandfather is from Spain. So those are like the white European Latinos, different conversation. But when you're talking about, like, when I've been around Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, and so many other nationalities, particularly Puerto Ricans, especially if you grew up in Brooklyn, and like I have Puerto Rican cousins, so I totally understand what that means to when people show pride in their culture and that sort of thing. So, um, him showing that and showcasing it is like I've already seen that because of the environment that I grew up in, growing up in New York. But now seeing that an artist is doing that, I feel like in this day and age, what these idiots over there in the White House is trying to do and come after y'all, come after the Latin community. This is the time more than ever to really take pride and not shame in who you are as a person, as a Puerto Rican, as a Dominican, as a Venezuelan, as a Colombian, as an Ecuadorian, or as a Mexican, as any nationality or ethnic background you may have, take pride in that because that's what these people want to do. They want to tear you down, they want to dismantle you, they want to destroy you, they want to break you up. Like I had a friend of mine telling me this morning that he woke up to a bunch of screams that ICE went and invaded. They was in his neighborhood and snatched up his neighbors, the whole family and everything. So it's scary out here, but yeah, at the same time, still just take pride in who you are and hold the fort down. Don't give in and try to be like them people over there because they don't see it for you. But I love the fact that Bad Bunny stands 10 toes down on who he is and doesn't apologize for who he is as a man and as an artist and as an individual. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Have you seen did you finally get around to seeing the content? I'm still bummed that I didn't get to see it because like I told you, I was crazy busy this weekend. But I'm gonna try to find a way to find a illegal version of it and check it out. So let me know what you guys think of this. Maybe I shouldn't have said that loud on camera, but you ain't pretend y'all ain't hear that. But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Child, I don't know her. I ain't been paying attention to all these lunar and eclipse and all this other stuff. The only lunar eclipse I know is this drag queen friend of mine, but that goes by that name. Molly put out a deluxe for her new album, and there's a 13-minute song with David Byrne that's really good. I'm gonna have to check that out. I didn't even know she put out one. Did she not? Did she not? Did she not promote that? Because I didn't even know she mentioned anything about releasing a deluxe version. Hmm. I know. Well, I have to keep doing it. Look, I got paid by YouTube yesterday, so and I saw that check. So I'm like, it's not a bad check. It was actually it was a good one. But nevertheless, I was like, oh, I got to keep these videos coming. So even when I'm not able to do the live streams, like yeah, I go in and I cut up the clips and segment. I should say segments because it's not a clip. A clip would be like less than 3 minutes or a reel because Meta wants me to put out little short reels. I'm like, have you not met me? Like, I don't do short reels. I try to do short reels, but it's impossible for me to do like really short ones unless because it's like I have to cut a lot of stuff out. So, mm, well, I'm actually thinking I might do her because I know she's gonna be in Brooklyn. So I'm making look, there's exceptions I'll make. Like if you're playing in a smaller venue and it's not going to cost me $600 to come see you, I will go. Arena type stuff is like, yeah, if I ain't working it, I'm not seeing it. But and I know like the what was it, the president of Ticketmaster, one of them places, how he was his tone deaf ass talking about that we're underpaying in regards to tickets. I'm like, really? Because I told y'all the floor seats for Lady Gaga's Mayhem Ball in section E, which is not a lot of seats and a lot of ruggles, went for almost 3 grand. So you thinking $3,000 for floor seats is cheap? Wouldn't that be considered for some like 2 months rent if you paying 3 grand for floor seats to see somebody in concert? The children must have like a whole lot of OnlyFans or a sugar daddy because I didn't know how some of them queens. I was looking at y'all like, how was y'all able to afford them tickets? But no, like I told you, I've made exceptions before when I've seen smaller acts that I like in concert. Like I went and saw Erasure at a small venue and I heard they're doing 3 nights in New York. So I'm probably gonna go see them. Who else? Well, when she was with Goldfrapp, Allison Goldfrapp, I went to see her at Brooklyn Steel. Slater, I went to see her at Brooklyn Steel. And so I would probably make an exception. I may get a ticket to see Miss Jade. I just gotta look at the tickets. And though she's coming to the garden, but she's doing a theater, which I was like, you know what, that was smart. The theater holds 3,000 people. It was cute. We was in there yesterday because I had to do my evacuation training. It's annual, so that's why I wasn't able to do a show yesterday. But we had to go in and we had to do our whole evacuation situation and training and a bunch of other things. So I'm definitely gonna go see her, and I like the fact that she's like, you know what, I'm gonna come to the US and I'm gonna do a small, I'm gonna do small venues. I'm gonna do all the other places. I'm like, why don't other artists do that? Like, if you really want to make your mark in the US, then take the time to come here and really do it. I'm still baffled as to why Charlie XCX thought, oh yeah, I'm gonna do arenas. I'm like, girl, you may have a lot of songs, but arena artists, you were not. Y'all already know how I felt about that show. I like her, but I was like, this needs to be on a smaller stage. Yeah, so and I haven't been to Brooklyn in a minute, so there might be some hipster queens out there I can stick my ding. Well, let me stop being nasty. So I hope Jane and Zara Larson tour and the Final Garbage tour are the only exception. I saw it was a little long, but very proud of. Oh, you said it was a little long. Yeah, he said it was 4 hours. I'm like, shit. My friend who you might know is in Cleveland. Mm-mm. I don't know her. He said Doja has a song on V that samples RuPaul's his little laugh is at the beginning of the song. That actually might be funny. But I'm looking forward to hearing it. I got me some new headphones. So I'll be listening to that. You know who also released a really good record that we weren't talking about? 9 Inch Nails with the Tron soundtrack. I was surprised how good that record was. It did kind of give elements of Tron Legacy. Like it definitely felt like it was a companion soundtrack to Legacy and what Daft Punk did, but it's a little more darker, it's more industrial, it has a lot of those moments. And I like the thing with Trent playing the piano and all the other stuff. So I'm kind of like that, but I'm like, Gaga, if you really want to do a real dark, industrial, dark Gaga record, maybe you should have called Trent and had him produce this album that you came out with. One of the things that still bothers me to this day that I really wish that was the album we would have gotten. I really wish that we would have gotten a Aaliyah produced, well, a Nine Inch Nails produced, or a Trent Reznor produced Aaliyah album. Because remember, she was a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. She loved us and Trent. And she was always like, she wanted to work with him on her music. And if you kind of listen to a lot of the stuff she did with Timbaland, it kind of had those elements up in there. He's in the movie. So yeah, Jeff Bridges I think he's the only one from the original two movies, well, the original and the Legacy that's in this film. I'm on the fence because one is Disney, two Jared Leto and the controversy surrounding that, but I'm a Tron fan. And so those are like two strikes against it. So I'm a little on the fence about, damn, do I go see this movie? Because of all the stuff that's going on, I'm conflicted. I don't want y'all cussing me out because like, look at you supporting Disney. Anyway, but here's one movie that we should be supporting and we don't need to be cussing nobody out. Let's talk about Sleepaway Camp. Now, I don't know if any of y'all in here have seen the movie. The movie came out in 1983. That was over 40 years ago. 42 years ago, I would say. Would it be a bad thing if we spoiled the ending, the twist ending, or whatever the case is, or does everybody in here already know the twist ended? Which I know some people are like, when I went to go see the film, I can't remember if it was earlier this year or late last year going into this year, but IFC in on West 4th Street in the West Village, they did a special screening of the film. The original movie's director was there, did a Q&A at the end, and they did like it was in the original, I can't remember the type of millimeter print that it was, but it was in the original film's print. So it had all the little skips and bubbles, like it was given very much what do you call it? Grindhouse, the way that it kind of looks in the overall visual. But I love that. I love when you watch something that's old and it kind of like skips and pops and all other stuff and doesn't look all perfect. I kind of like when they have that because it just has like a vintage. overall look to it that I appreciate because I feel like you're watching something that's sacred and has kind of been put in a vault for a long time that they took out specifically for us. I feel special when I see stuff like that. But this thing has been in development hell since I believe 2013, and it was under a different producer owned it. And I remember during the Q&A, the original film's director was talking about like trying to get it out there and come up with another idea and get another movie made. But I guess nobody out there, you know, got him interested or wanting him to hook him in to be like, okay, I want to work with you guys. Now here comes Kenan Thompson, which I feel like is an odd pair because I guess when we look at Kenan Thompson, we think Nickelodeon, we think SNL, we think Kenan and Kel, we think Good Burger. We don't think horror. I mean, at least I don't. But according to Keenan, he said this is like one of his favorite movies. But let me find out you like this movie. And look, shout out to the trans community because the trans girls that was up in there when I was watching that Q&A, I mean when during the Q&A and we were watching the movie, they have no issue with the twist and all the other stuff and the trans allegory and all the other stuff that was in that film. They actually felt like this was sort of like their little revenge movie in a way. So they look at even though some people could look at it as problematic, they look at it as a badge of honor. And we're not going to sit up here and try to act like the acting wasn't atrocious. That's one of the one things that I love about Sleepaway Camp is the fact that, yeah, the acting was god awful. But nevertheless, so was a lot of actors in the 80s. Their acting was a choice when it came down to it. But that's not what we watch these movies for. We always watch it for the carnage candy. We watched it for the nudity. We watched it for the inappropriate, so they were saying. And one of my favorite characters probably because it reminds me of me, is Ricky. When he was up in there cussing on the people like, you mother, you pricks, and all of the stuff, cocksuckers. So Ricky up in there giving the finger and cussing and all of the stuff. He was like one of my favorite characters in the film. And Felissa Rose, shout out to her. Hopefully she will be in this film. But anyway, let's get in the article. So yeah, so apparently, since we talking about Kenan Thompson, he apparently secured the rights to the franchise and will be producing the film alongside Johnny Ryan Jr. through their company AFA. So specifics as to, and this is a shout out to Deadline, by the way, who broke this story. Specifics as to AFA's take on the material under wraps for now, but AFA has placed the film's writer-director Robert Hiltzik back at the helm to direct from his own script. While for decades, Hilton and his wife have been approached for rights to the franchise, they've held out in hopes of a scenario where they can be involved in revitalizing the franchise. To Thompson and Ryan Jr., whose AFA places an emphasis on keeping creative control and ownership with the artist, keeping the original architects of the franchise at the forefront of its evolution is a given. Now, released in 1983, Sleepaway Camp is a low-budget summer camp slasher in which a shy teen summer at Camp Arawak turns deadly as campers are murdered one by one. The film plays like a whodunit in the Friday the 13th mold, as it's famous for an iconic twisty finale. Hilsig shot it at Camp Algonquin in Argyle, New York, which he attended as a kid. Made for roughly $350,000 with a cast of unknowns, the film grossed around $11 million and is endured as a cult favorite. Would it be considered a cult favorite if your budget was $350,000 and it made 11 million? That's kind of like with Halloween. Remember the original Halloween? It cost them like $300,000, and it made quite a bit at the box office. But I don't know if they consider the original Halloween a cult favorite or a cult classic. I just think people look at it as a horror classic. But anyway, so yeah, and they came out with a number of sequels. So we had Sleepaway Camp 2 Unhappy Campers, which came out in 88, and Sleepaway Camp 3 Teenage Wasteland in 1989. And then you had Bruce Springsteen's sister, Pamela Springsteen, stepping in to play the role of Angela, because that was always how they said it. Angela. That was that other little brat that used to go in there and always say her name. I'm like, girl, why are you saying her name like that? Angela. Angela. I was like, girl, relax. You ain't got to do all of that. But that was, I guess, the director was eating it up, and it was just like, okay, I guess he was like, just go along with it. So, no stranger to summer camp, having starred alongside Ben Stiller in the Stephen Brill and Judd Apatow Penn Kids classic Heavyweights at the start of his career. Thompson will produce the reimagining for AFA alongside Ryan Jr., Robinson Velasco, Monica Weber, Corey Litwin, a bunch of other people who y'all probably like who. And so it's not that important. So development on the script is underway right now with the project making AFA's marking AFA's first since exiting their 3-year overall deal at Universal. Development is made possible by a new strategic partnership and investment from Schwartz and a deal negotiated by a bunch of other people who y'all probably don't care about. So we don't need to get into that. But as far as like Robert Hiltzik, he said this to Deadline in a statement. He said, quote, I am both thrilled and humbled to be working with AFA on the reimagined Sleepaway Camp. Though I have been approached by several companies regarding the remake of Sleepaway Camp, only AFA has shared my opinion and is excited to have me helm the film, therefore preserving the integrity of the original film for the fans, as well as introducing Sleepaway Camp to a whole new generation. Be prepared for a new member of the Sleepaway Camp family. And then Thompson told Deadline, excited to work with the original genius, Robert, and bring back to life a camp classic. So everybody's excited. And then also, Thompson's partner went and said this. He said, I've been obsessed with the Sleepaway Camp franchise since I was a kid. We've wanted this title for 20 years and we're over the moon. Robert came back to write it. We're staying true to the OG story while Robert adding in some insane new twists. We're going crazy with the merch too. Now, they also talk about like when AFA was founded. We don't need to get into that. But um excited for this. I'm just wondering because I know everybody's so politically correct now, and we're in this era of a lot of the newer generation wants to look back at old stuff. Oh, that was inappropriate. That's problematic. Oh, you can't get away with stuff like that now. And it's like, okay, y'all need to stop with the BS. Number one, I'm so glad I grew up at a time, even though 1983, um, I was an infant. I was. I was an infant. So I don't remember seeing that movie. I had to see it years later when I was old enough and aware to even know what the hell a sleepaway camp was. And yeah, like everybody else, I gagged over that twist. But it'd be interesting to see like how they reimagine it. I hope they still keep the little situation with Angela in the film and all that other stuff. But if they have other ways of coming up with different twists and turns with other characters, I definitely want to see that. It's kind of like similar to I don't know if y'all heard, but I think at Fantastic Fest, they actually showed a screening of Silent Night, Deadly Night, which was another controversial film that came out in the 80s. They remade it. Rowan Campbell's in it, who I absolutely love. I loved him in freaking Halloween Ends. I don't care what nobody say. Go argue with your mammy. I love that movie. I liked him in it. I just don't think that it felt a part of the trilogy. It felt like its own individual Halloween movie, but I thought he did a phenomenal job in it. But what I've been hearing is the fact that he did a phenomenal job as Billy in this new movie. There's a couple of new, like they've taken it and reimagined the original movie, which was shrouded in controversy. People were outside with picket signs promoting it. That's how controversial that movie was back in the day. And I don't remember all of this because I was, like I said, I was an infant. So I knew of this because I'd seen clips and stuff online and videos and things where they were talking about there were protests, and I've read articles. So that's how I was aware of the big controversy surrounding Silent Night, Deadly Night, and the fact that yeah, you making like some dude in a Santa suit going around hacking people up. So with this film and everything that's coming out, it's like there's the whole controversy around it. They said they came up with new twists and turns and came up with like a way to beef up they kept the core of what was in the original film, but they're telling their own story. They were able to beef it up, and then of course with the performances, that was great. And then Cody Leach, because that's whose review I saw, he was just like he wanted more Carnage Candy, but if that was his only complaint about the film. But if they're gonna sacrifice a lot of Carnage Candy to give us amazing story and a lot of twists and turns, I'll take that over the lack of crazy kills. Maybe we'll get more Carnage Candy, similar to like Terrifier in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. If there is a part two, if this Billy survives, I don't necessarily know how this film is, but I'm definitely gonna go see it in December. Then they could talk about adding more Carnage Candy. Same thing to Sleepaway Camp. I'll be definitely interested in seeing how they're gonna make this movie. And if because you had a girl. Well, shit, I don't know. Y'all had to have seen the movie. It's old. So if you're gonna do the whole thing where there's a trans twist at the end of Sleepaway Camp, I wonder if they're gonna cast a trans actor to play Angela. Because some people would have, but some people get upset about it. I'm like, oh, then you're gonna have a cisgender person playing a trans character, all that other shit that they would say, like, oh no, they have to be trans when we make the movie. So I'm just gonna hold my opinions on all of this until the film officially comes out. But in the meantime, I'm excited. I'm a little on the skeptic side because it's like I can't imagine. I don't know, just in my head, based off of I think Kenan's reputation, I don't know if I could see him doing the whole horror movie thing. But you'd be surprised with how people on what their exterior, what they really into behind the scenes. Cause I like serial killer shit. Look, I'm looking forward to seeing that Ed Gein, even though I know it's gonna be an over exaggerated mess. I'm looking forward to seeing that Ed Gein series monster from Brian Murphy. We already know what it's gonna give. I'm gonna be watching, but I'll also be watching the documentaries and all the other stuff that's before it leads up to that season actually premiering. So shout out to you, Kenan. Shout out to all of y'all working behind this film, and I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Are you excited to see for this news that we will be getting a Sleepaway Camp reimagining film, a reimagining of Sleepaway Camp? Kenan Thompson is being behind it, and what do you think, or what would you like to see them take on in regards of this film and making it? I don't know if I should say better because even though the film is the original is a classic, I don't know if I would want them to change anything. Some of the effects in that movie was crazy too, especially the guy that got hit with the pedophile that got the boiling water on him by, the killer. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Did I play the video game? No, I've never actually played not okay, Mariah. Who is this queen? Hopper, who this queen? It says spoiler. Yeah, I'm like, okay. Well, y'all already know the spoiler. It's like Angela was once upon a time a boy. Especially we see the end where she killed that boy, took his head clear off, and then you see her standing there with her dingaling all hanging out. I'm like, girl, because her crazy aunt didn't want another boy in the house. Never saw it. It wasn't one of those '80s horror knockoffs. I mean, it kind of had elements of Friday the 13th in it. Trump now supports Ukraine after learning the full situation at the UN summit in New York. It's the only time that I think he held for. Oh please! I'm sure there's a method to that thing he calls madness. Authorities said the weapon used for Charlie Kirk unaliving the woman. The weapon was from the 1800s. Please. So y'all already know my theory on it. I did a whole video on it. It's on the page channel, whatever you want to call it. Netanyahu's behind it because I ain't never believed. First of all, and then a hit dog definitely a holler because how many times he came out and was like, I ain't had nothing to do with it. Like you had to come out 3 different times. You're guilty, sir. Did they? I don't think I've ever played Kingdom Hearts 2. But in a way, it's like, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to the movie. I actually want to. You don't want something? Hell might have froze over because I kind of want to see that new The Strangers sequel. But then I read a review on it on Bloody Disgusted, and they trashed it. They said it's just like one long ass chase sequence after another. Like it just feels very much like it was just thrown together. So I'm like, here we go again. Rennie Harlan and screwed up a franchise. They might as well just put it out the pasture, or just drop the third movie on streaming, or maybe it won't get made. You know what's another movie I was hearing that's getting good reviews? The Black Phone too, because I heard they showed that at Fantastic Fest as well. The original Silent Night, Deadly Night was outrageous and kind of traumatizing for that time. Yeah, I can definitely, especially when you stick in. What was that? Linnea Quigley when they stuck her on the deer antlers, and she was topless, and then all kinds of crazy stuff they was doing in that movie. It kind of seemed like they were kind of paying homage to that scene in the new trailer. Except the girl had a bra on. I was like, she need to have them titties out. Like, if y'all gonna do it accurately. Hold on, because I didn't even start up my watch. All right, y'all. So let's get into some more horror news. So, spoiler alert, or is it really a spoiler because everybody's been out here talking about it? And EW spoiled it. Hayden Panettiere apparently is going to be reprising her role as Kirby Reed in Scream 7. And this is, like I said, Entertainment Weekly apparently spoiled it. Nobody else was talking about it. And I'll even tell you exactly where they spoil it. So, um, Entertainment Weekly was catching up with the actors of the 2012 series Nashville. So it was kind of like a where are they now, whatever the case is. So they were doing like Connie Britton, all the other people that was on there. When they got to Hayden Panettiere, there's a small little sentence that mentions they were like, oh, she'll be reprising her role as Kirby Reed in Scream 7. No other place was talking about it. They were the only ones. So y'all just kind of just threw it. That was like it felt like a throwaway, but now it's the talk. Because Bloody Disgusting picked it up and they said that, yeah, that Panettiere will team up with Nev Campbell, Sidney Prescott, and probably Courtney Cox's Gail Weathers for the latest installment of the slasher saga. Now, due out on February 27, 2026, Scream 7 is directed by original screenwriter Kevin Williamson from a script by Guy Busick, who wrote Scream 2022 and Scream 6. Now, here's the thing. If you're gonna have Hayden Panettiere come back, look. First of all, I don't know if y'all know this. She was like one of my favorite characters in Scream 4. I know some people have a love-hate relationship with Scream 4. I actually have a soft spot for Scream 4. I like what they were doing with that. I didn't like the fact that they sidelined Sydney a lot and wanted to focus more on her cousin Jill and everything that was going on with that. So it was like y'all were trying to sideline Sydney a little bit, and they gave her some things to do in there. But for the most part, uh Kirby Reed was the standout. She was the fan favorite. She was kind of like this hot version of Randy Meeks in a way. She was like a movie nerd, but hot, which I think a lot of people gravitate to. And I like the little short little cut that she has on the left. Hated that freaking um Fox News wig that they gave her on the right. I don't know why they decided to put her in that, but if she's gonna come back in this new one, can y'all make her look a little better with the hair? Like, first of all, we got a homosexual on the set. So with Kevin Williamson being there, I think he's gonna make her look better than I don't know what the hell Radio Silence was thinking with that look. And then on top of that, I hated the way that they used Kirby in the film because I don't feel like they captured her personality. The personality that we got of her from Scream 4 that we loved, I don't feel like that personality was there in Scream 6. And I get that she was dealing with a past trauma where she almost died, and there was always like this thing of is she or is she not alive or whatever the case is, but there should have been elements of Kirby that we love from Scream 4 in that character. And I don't feel like I got that. So I was kind of disappointed with her character. And I felt like she was also underused. But that always sounds like a thing with Radio Silence, that they want to highlight the core four and everybody else up in that and want to sideline characters that they didn't necessarily come up with, like a Gale, like a Sydney, like a Dewey, and most recently, as we talk about, Kirby. But you want to give plot armor to your core damn four. Two of them who ain't coming back. So we'll see if the Meeks Martin twins survive in the new one. But yeah, so and then there was a story, Critical Overlord, shout out to him, because I remember he was the one that posted up a picture of, I forget who it was. It might have been the it was Kirby looking at a like the board of all the people that were the killers and stuff that was on the board. Like they were solving a crime or whatever. And he said in his tweet, someone in this photo is going to be coming back and it's going to be in Scream 6. And I think that's what he was alluding to. I didn't think Hayden Panettiere for some reason. I'm sitting there looking at, all the killers. I'm like, is it Jill? Is it this one? Is it that one? Is like I'm sitting there thinking, is it one of them? Because I'm more focused on the previous story that's come out that a lot of the people that were supposed to be dead and the whole AI thing that they're supposed to be coming at back and trying to trick Sydney and all this other stuff. So I'm thinking that. I didn't think, duh, he might be talking about Kirby Reed. So he was alluding to that for the week. This is what happens when you pay attention and you keep the Easter eggs in the back of your head. Then it starts to add up. And so no other blog is talking about this, but Entertainment Weekly is pretty much a legit site. So I'm gonna go and believe that she will be coming back. But it would have been nice that if that was left as a surprise. But like I said, with Kevin Williamson being back on board, I'm really hoping that he stepped in a bit and was like, okay, I need to spice up this script a little bit because this is not like something Kirby would say, or this is not how Kirby would act, or whatever the case, because I created that character. He wrote Scream 4. So I would think that, you would want somebody who actually understands certain characters, particularly Sydney, because I don't even think that, what was it, God Busey? I don't think he understands a lot of these other characters. A lot of times y'all think you can capture who this person is, but I don't think they captured Sydney Prescott, even in Scream 5. Like, it just felt like she was kind of thrown in certain situations. But also, I should point out, is like, yeah, we have Courtney Cox, as I mentioned before, Mason Gooding, Jasmine Savoy Brown, David Arquette, Matthew Lillard, and Scott Foley. Returning alongside newbies, Isabel May, Joe McHale, McKenna Grace, Celeste O'Connor, Sam Reckner, Asa Gurman, Anna Camp, Ethan Embry, Mark Consuelos, Michelle Randolph, and Jimmy Tatro. And as I said, the plot is supposed to, from what we've heard, is supposed to focus on Sydney Prescott and her family 2 years after the event of Scream 6. So having Kirby join forces and be the FBI agent, because remember, they did say that Kirby is supposed to be getting her own spinoff. I don't know in what capacity are they trying to do with this whole spin-off situation, but she's supposed to. I could see her joining forces with Sydney and Gail as they kind of try to uncover what's going on with why Ghostface is coming after them and the AI thing and why they're using previously unalived killers to get back at you. So it'll be interesting to see like what all that means. While on the other side of the coin, while Sydney's over her own adventure and she's trying to keep her daughter alive in so many other ways and trying to prevent a killer from doing what he's doing to her family, you have Tatum trying to survive being sliced and diced by Ghostface, and not only Tatum is her daughter, because from the word on the street, she did name her child after her best friend Tatum. Then we get into that, and then now you have to worry about Tatum and her friends trying to survive the killer. So it'll be interesting to see how all this works out. We'll find out if this is true when the movie comes out, or we get our first trailer, which will be coming in the next couple of weeks. Because I would think, like, with October being around the corner, Black Phone 2 coming out pretty soon, like, they would want to start to get the promotional ball rolling for Scream 7, get some teasers out there, because February is only what, like 4 or 5 months away? So, and y'all have released trailers way early. Like, look, with Disney and the Mandalorian Grogu, because of all that mess that's going on with Disney, I seen y'all pulling this little stunt. How y'all wanted? Oh yeah, let's bring up Mandalorian Grogu, which literally looked like an episode that should be on TV rather than in the movies. I don't care how much money you spend on it; it still looked like it was giving TV series tease with the overall visuals. Y'all decided to put out Mandalorian Grogu to save face because of all the controversy with Disney, and y'all losing over $7 billion in revenue. So I say all this to say, shout out to you, Hayden Panettiere. I hope you are in this film. I'll be looking forward to seeing you in this movie. And I just hope, like, yeah, when it comes out, that they will be utilizing your character better than they did in the previous film. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Do you believe that this story, coming from Bloody Disgusting and also Entertainment Weekly, and would you like to see Hayden Panettiere reprising her role as Kirby Reed in Scream 7? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. So it's not coming out. Hold on. I don't move this. Destiny called Hassan homophobic. Hassan Pike homophobic. Child. I guess he's never seen the Austin show. I was like, there's not a homophobic bone in Hassan's body. And child, have y'all seen Hassan's ass? That is a big old butt. And the way he be walking is like, it's like do 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 do. I said, all right, Miss Mama, you better work. All them cheeks, the cheeks be cheeking. And yeah, and I know some people are like, but yeah, my best friend, some of my best friends gay, blah 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 blah. And it's like, um, okay, but that's not Hassan. Like, he's not one of those that's gonna be homophobic. Where the hell does Destiny get this mess from? Is he even a homosexual? Like, inquiring minds want to know. Like, don't be out here trying. Destiny is trash. What is his government name? Because one time somebody actually called him that on a stream, and I cackled. What's the story going to be? The twist of a returning legacy character is spoiler Al in the or spoiler AI in the movie. Well, I don't know. There's been rumors going around that it's actually Stu's sister that kind of seeks revenge and this sort of thing, and it's kind of using the AI as a way to get back. And so, I don't know. It's a bunch of stuff. But I'm looking forward to seeing the movie and finding out um what's the tea. Torre did a video called 7 Reasons Why I Hate Drake. Ah! Well, I need to see that video. That'd be funny. Way on topic, but did you watch Mistress's new video with Aberly Miller where they react? No, I did not. But I did see um when I was scrolling through Instagram, I did see that she did a clip. I mean, I saw the clips, but I didn't watch the video. Abby doesn't want to be a guest judge. She wants to be a rotating judge. A rotating judge on what? Drag Race? No, I feel like, as I said before, get rid of Ross and Carson. They run their course. I don't know why they're there anymore. I guess maybe because I just want to keep having white people up there. They don't want to make it too black, which I don't know why. That's RuPaul's show. But then again, it is Paramount Plus, Paramount, all of them, Viacom. They're going to do what they do. Keep T.S. Madison over there. Keep Law Roach as a rotating judge. But Aberly Miller, no. Girl, stick to the rivers and the lakes. You can go back over there to Dance Moms and torment the little children. Because if you try to come for a drag queen, oh, they're going to eat your big ass up. So, no. Maybe from big girl to big girl, that will work with you being a judge. Maybe that should be a thing with you and Mistress, where y'all do a show together and y'all react to things, and that could be a thing that y'all do. See, Mistress, I'm giving you something. Like, do that. That y'all could do like a show together and come up with something. Maybe this is the thing that y'all need to do. But if you're thinking about trying to be a rotating judge on Drag Race, we don't want it. I don't want it. And I was just talking to one of my industry friends the other day. He told me he's coming back to New York in December, and he was trying to estimate or guesstimate, I should say, when they're going to do the whole Drag Race season 18 premiere thing. Depending on my schedule, I'll see if I'll be able to go this year, but you know. All right, so we have more Scream news, but you know, when we're going to talk Scream, we're going to get a little homosexual with it. So, Matthew Lillard basically spoke out in a recent panel discussion with him, Skeet Ulrich, and Rose McGowan, who were doing like a panel for Scream or whatever the case is. It was at Silver Screen Con. They have so many conventions. So yeah, they were basically on stage and they were talking about this film because for years, queer horror fans have basically speculated whether or not Billy Loomis and Stu Markham were more than just friends, we'll say. And people were kind of feeling like there was some sort of a queer allegory that was throughout the original Scream. And trust and believe, it is definitely there. And I felt it. And it shouldn't come as a surprise because Kevin Williamson is gay and he wrote the script. So, and this being a late 90s, when did it come out? 96, so mid 90s, I guess we could say. So yeah, next year will be the 30th anniversary of the original Scream. And so yeah, they had the conversation, they talked about it, and I do have the clip because so we can go over to the tiki-taki, and I want y'all to hear what he had to say regarding the whole queer allegory surrounding Scream. Please,
I had some of your castmates here, and one of them was shocked to hear of the fan theory that Billy and Stu were queer-coded. It was hard for me to believe that I was the first person to present that idea, but...
I feel like maybe that's a motive in Tatum's death.
Oh!
In the movie.
Probably.
Deep subplot that maybe they weren't even aware of the characters that deep. Maybe later.
Yeah. Or maybe
If
we were
live.
totally aware.
Oh, yeah. Either way.
What?
Either way. It works.
Yeah. We are the first husbands of horror.
Yeah.
I love that. The reason I love it is because there's a lot of hatred in the world right now. And I love standing up and saying we are the first gay couple ever in the horror movie. And there's nothing they can fucking say about it. You can't touch it. You can't take it away. So, I don't know. If there's a little gay kid out there going, oh my God, we see you. We love you.
Fact.
I had some of your cast.
She said fact. And yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, I definitely was like, yeah, there's some queer allegory. And I think that's why a lot of times, particularly my generation, when I first saw Scream, I was like, I think I related to that movie so much. And it's like, yeah, when you see certain poses and certain looks, like even this scene, or even like there were certain looks that Billy and Stu gave each other throughout the film. And even there were moments where I noticed that when the killers are revealed, the way Stu plays up the part in the third act when they reveal themselves as the killers, him and Billy, to Sydney in the third act, where you notice that, and well, I did, that he kind of he gets more flamboyant with his performance, and it becomes almost a bit comedic, a bit more flashy, a bit more over the top. And so I like that side of Stu. Now I know a lot of people want Stu to be alive or whatever, but I'm like, I don't know how anybody survives a big old fat back TV, because the back of them TVs was heavy as hell. Trust me, believe I've had to lift them back when they were a thing. TVs have gotten a lot better and a lot lighter since then. But if you got a big old fat back TV, like if you got one of these little light TVs, whatever, on you, I don't think it will hurt you as much. But if you got one of them big old televisions that fell on your face, oh, you wouldn't have a face left. So I don't know how people think that Stu would able to survive that. Or look, here's the thing: I'll be open minded if they could find a way to curtail and make it seem like, or find a way to bring Stu back in the franchise, and it comes across as believable. When we finally see this movie, then I'll be like, okay, but we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there, when the movie comes out in February. In the meantime, with this whole thing, I've always said, like, yeah, there is a queer allegory when it comes to Stu and Billy Loomis. They definitely felt like, well, Bill, child, quiet as his kid, Billy was out here hunching every damn body. I mean, while he was with Sydney, he was banging her mother, Maureen, who was like the slut of Woodsboro, as they like to call her. And then on top of that, he done, Christina Carpenter got her pregnant. And then we find out years later he had Sam. And that was before Tara came along. So there was that whole thing. So Billy was out here laying low and spreading it wide all over Woodsboro. And then he finally got up in Sydney drawers because she wasn't giving it to him. So the whole idea regarding calling them the first gay couple, I actually like that. One person said in the comments, First Husband's a Horror would make a great band name. It actually would. That'd be cute. Another person said, I love Matthew Lillard. That was so cute. Not y'all posted a picture of Shawn Wayans and, oh my God, the white dude from a Scary Movie. Like, y'all about to hunch. Another person said the fact that Rose felt safe enough to go makes me fucking so happy. Well, yeah, because the man who raped her is in jail. Another person said Matthew Lillard is everything. Another person said, what do you mean coded? Your Honor, they are married. And they said, another person said the original murder husbands next to Hanagram, of course. Not somebody posted, the whole look of Law and Order. Somebody put Raw and Older. And then another person said screenwriter Kevin Williamson is an out and proud homosexual man and has said that he loosely based their characters on Leopold and Loeb, so deaf gay coded. I did not know that. So, and then another person said, not enough people know about Leopold and Loeb, but as someone who thought I knew a lot of behind the scenes, I somehow missed the inspiration. Cool tidbit. So yeah, one person said that one of my life goals to go see them in person. Matthew Lillard is such an amazing. First of all, I love me some Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich. Child, don't have me come into person. I have to climb on that man. That man has gotten finer as he got older. So and remember back in the day, he was compared to like Johnny Depp or whatever. So he was like the Johnny Depp of the '90s, very much in how he looked or whatever. But look, he has aged like fine wine. Johnny Depp, on the other hand, Them alcohol and cigarettes clearly got to him because Miss Mama out here looking rough in the face like RFK Jr. But I was trying to see if there was any more Oh yeah. So, and they do have the art. They have it in the article too. So they said, yeah, Scream has been considered queer coded for some time, with Billy and Stu loosely based on infamous early 20th century murderers, Leopold and Loeb, both of whom told the press that they were in a homosexual relationship. Screenwriter Kevin Williamson, himself a homosexual man, told Pride Source it's very sort of homoerotic in the sense that there were these two guys who killed this other person just to see if they could get away with it. If you Google Leopold and Loeb, you'll read about it and you'll get, okay, that's Billy and Stu. So there you have it. So I don't think it was necessarily queer. I mean, quiet as it's kept, a lot of times, maybe on a subconscious level, you kind of sense those things, but you don't know how to put it to words. It's just a feeling. And in the mid 90s, we didn't have a word for like, oh, is it queer coded or is there any kind of homosexual tendencies between these guys? Because in the 90s, it wasn't something that was broadcast. It wasn't something that was like overtly in your face because we didn't have a lot of queer representation at those times. But yeah, when you look back on it and you're looking at it from a 2020, I'm almost said 2025 lens, everybody was like, or even back then, because they said for years this has been a thing. So it's definitely like, okay, I definitely see it, but chill. Now that we're in a new time situation, can we actually get a in your face gay couple serial killer situation in a Scream movie? Because the queers love horror. We've been a staunch supporter of horror movies and everything entailing that, because I guess we could relate in so many ways to the boogeyman and the monsters and the monster in the bed and that sort of thing. So I saw that to say, what do you guys think of this story? Did you always detect that there might be a little situation between Stu and Billy Loomis? That their characters there was sort of like, you think they may have been more than just friends. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. I was going to get to that when I got to the Pamela Anderson story, but thank you. It's like can't more homosexual. Oh, can't you saying can't be more homosexual than oh please. Don't ever get me started. Now talk about a movie that was full on gay. Nightmare on Elm Street 2, especially the scene in the leather bar, and then the other scene with the gym teacher getting you know, strapped up in the shower and whipped, and then he got his back scratched up by Freddy's claws. Oh, that movie. You said Kevin Williamson gay. Who else could create Gail Weathers and her meek, mild, polar opposite? Yeah, a homosexual man. Remember the first scary movie with Bobby? Yeah, that's what I was alluding to, but I just couldn't remember his name. The white boy. I think he was from that show Boston Public. I used to love that show with Loretta Devine and Sean McBride playing the principal. All right, y'all. So now let's go from one 90s situation to another. We could talk about, well, from Scream, basically. And let's go and talk about Charmed, because Holly Marie Combs is calling out the producers of Charmed for, the way that they handled, the shady way, I should say, that they handled the firation of our dearly departed sister, Shannen Doherty. So Holly Marie Combs and Brian Krause got emotional over their and Brian Krause, for those who don't know, played Leo, was the white lighter on Charmed. So they got emotional over their late Charmed co-star Shannen Doherty's exit from the show. Now they have a rewatch podcast. Well, Charmed has a rewatch podcast called The House of Hollowell. First of all, that sounds like a house I would want to be a part of, but where the ballroom girls at? That like doing witchery type stuff. Like we need somebody like, remember that video of Hermione Granger when she was voguing with the wand? That's what that's what kind of reminds me of like when you say The House of Hollowell. But anyway, so the rewatch podcast that the two co-hosts alongside Drew Fuller, wait, didn't he play their son on the show? Recently discussed Doherty's final episode on the drama All Hell Breaks Loose. They said All Hell Breaks Loose was the season 3 finale directed by Doherty. It ended with a cliffhanger showing sisters Prue and Piper left for dead while their sister Phoebe, played by Alyssa Milano, was trapped in the underworld. Now, Doherty was fired from the show and her character was killed off. Prue was replaced by half-sister Paige, played by Rose McGowan, who we just saw in a recent clip we were talking about Scream, in the subsequent 5 seasons. Saying, quote, there was just so many different ways it could have been handled. This is what Combs said, her voice cracking. And the fact of the matter is, it was handled so, I think she said shittily, because they blurted out the word, but it said, it was so massive. It was such, wait, what? It was such massive insult to injury to let her direct it and go out on this high note. Like, it's just so sick and twisted. Combs noted that they wouldn't be naming names involved with Doherty's exit because many people are too afraid to talk about the incident. She said that no one was aware that Doherty's job was at risk when filming the episode. Instead, the late actress got a phone call while the show was on hiatus, saying, quote, no one wants to speak their truth because they feel like they'll be hated by the fandom, by the thing, by their former workers. This is what Krause chimed in. Well, my thing is this. Y'all not a part of the show no more. And I don't know if Holly Marie Combs acts anymore. Now she's just kind of been looking back on Charmed and doing the podcast and all other stuff. Because I remember at one point, yeah, she had the podcast with Shannen, but now that Shannon's not here anymore, now she's doing a rewatch. And I would have just been like, you know what? In the words of Sutton Strack, name them. Like, who was the one that was behind it that did what they did and was the cause of Shannon's firing? But I don't want to victim blame or go and try to jump to conclusions. But also, as much as I love Shannon Doherty, she had a reputation where she was difficult to work with on a lot of these sets. So I wonder, like, what was transpiring behind the scenes that made them come to this decision? Or was it a situation that she was someone who's a woman who pushes back on a lot of things she doesn't agree with? Because there's be a lot of times that you on a set, whether it's a TV show and a movie show or a movie, and people have said years later or decades later that, yeah, when I was working on this set, it was a hostile environment. There were things that the director or producer, whatever, wanted us to do that I wasn't comfortable doing, or they would make my character do a certain thing that didn't make sense to me logically. I'm like, wait, this is not something that Prue would do. Why all of a sudden we're having her make these type of decisions that normally she wouldn't make throughout the many seasons that I've done the show? Like season 1 and 2, Prue was on point, but whatever. Now in season 3, you got me doing all kinds of crazy stuff that I'm like, Prue wouldn't do that. And now you're in your feelings and you got an ego, and now you're trying to be like, well, don't question what I'm doing. I wrote the damn script. You do what you're told. You know, you get people that are combative in that way, that really will try you and feel like I got to put you in your place. So I would have liked more specifics on that. I didn't listen to the full. I didn't listen to the podcast or whatever the case is, but I did post a podcast on the clip. I mean, not the clip, the whole thing on the iHeart. Well, it's on iHeart, but I did post it on my website, chrisavalon.com. So if you actually want to go and listen to House of Hollowell, you can go and look up the article there and definitely check out the full podcast. So yeah, they said what else did it say? Oh, so Krause said that Charm before and after Doherty felt like 2 different shows. Combs rated All Hell Breaks Loose a 0 because of the circumstances. She said, I think it's the worst episode ever. Doherty's departure from Charm had been a point of contention for nearly 25 years. The actress and Combs publicly argued with their co-star and on-screen sister, Milano, over the circumstances months before Doherty's death. The Heather star died of cancer in July of 2024. Damn, I cannot believe it's been over a year that she's been gone. Um, and shout out to James Vanderbeek, because I just recently saw that they had like a reunion of Dawson's Creek. So they had the whole cast there, Katie Holmes and Joshua Jackson, all them. And James wanted to make it, but because he was sick, he couldn't. But then they showed a video of him. Child, let me tell you, cancer is no joke. And cancer sucks. Like, he lost so much weight. He doesn't even look like himself. He looks way older. And that's what cancer does. Like, it just eats away at you. And I feel for him right now because I think it was colon cancer. And I feel for him because I'm like, gosh, I really hope that we don't have to go and buy, in 2025, James Vanderbeek, dead at and he's not even 50. So it's crazy how like what's happening, and when you're in your 40s, you got to worry about getting cancer and all kinds of other craziness. So shout out to him, because cancer is no joke, and we lost Shannen to cancer, and now he's out here with it, and it's just like a lot of the people that I grew up with and had that nostalgia for. It's like I just hate being reminded that we're mortal. And the older you get, like it just seems like that's the thing that we get reminded of. That yeah, we're on borrowed time. We're not here on this earth for much longer. So make it count and do what you need to do, and don't apologize for living your life the way you want to live it before your time. They stamp your card and they call you to the gates. I don't know which one, the one upstairs or downstairs. I mean, we know some people that's going to be at that one downstairs. The president, Stephen Miller, all of them. Y'all not getting in upstairs. So y'all can do. I'm not even going there. I want to talk about the people. So, it just seems like yeah, they still going at it with Alyssa Milano. They don't particularly care for her. Combs also claimed that Milano had given production an ultimatum that got the Beverly Hills 90210 star fired. Milano shot back shortly after, saying, "I've been very upfront in taking accountability and apologized for whatever part I played in the situation." This is what she said in February of 2024. "And I've been very forthcoming about that. So I don't know how else to fix it." Well, I don't know how else to fix it either, because it just seems like that, what, they keep talking about it. And Alyssa says, "Look, I've been transparent, I've been upfront, and I've been telling you, like, yeah, I'm back in the day when we would have butting heads, whatever the case is, I've taken responsibility for my part." But is there some point that, based off of what I'm reading, can we move on? Unless um Holly feels that Alyssa's not being necessarily truthful about everything that's going on. That she's kind of looking at it as like, okay, girl, you just playing all this mess up because you want to be cute for, the media and all these other people. So you can pull the wool over their eyes and play victim all you want, but we know the true tea because we work 14 and 16-hour days with you for damn near 9 months doing 22 episodes a season. So sis, don't play. No, play with play with your pussy. Don't play with me. It's kind of like what what Holly is giving with this whole clapback. So yeah, she also accused Milano of contradicting herself regarding Doherty's firing when speaking about the incident in private. So it's a lot, and it just seems like just what I thought we wasn't going to be bringing up the drama going on between the Hollowell sisters. It seems like they still got beef. And as I said, as someone who loved Shannen Doherty and was a big fan of when she was in stuff from Heathers to Little House on the Prairie to, Charmed, 902 Beverly Hills 90210, all the other projects that she's been in, where Aaron Spelling definitely had her out here working. Um, it's just sad to hear like they're still beefing behind the scenes over a show that I just loved growing up watching in the 90s. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? I was also thinking, you know what? I hope they I don't want to hear nothing about a reboot of a Charm. Y'all tried doing that over there on the CW. It was a mess. I didn't like it. I bailed on it after a couple of episodes. I was like, nope, leave it alone. Charmed is what it was. It can't be continued. It can't be rebooted, especially with Prue not being a part of the show. So, and then you couldn't even get Holly to come back with Alyssa because them two are button heads. And I don't even think Rose McGowan would want to do it. So just leave the show where it is. Leave it alone. I don't think they're entertaining bringing it back, but I just hope, I'm just saying, just for future situations, leave Charmed alone. Let it be what it is. If y'all could wait a decade or two and maybe come up with a concept, then maybe I might check it out. But if it was a mess like that last one y'all did, well, that lasted way too damn long, then we don't want it. That's why I'm like, fingers crossed that the Buffy continuation, because they're saying it's not a reboot, it's a continuation. I hope that don't suck whenever we get that. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. So I told you I watched Clown on the Cornfield. I watched it the day it dropped on Shudder. Sidebar, speaking of Shudder, there is a movie on there. I don't know if y'all seen it. Damn, I forgot what it's called. Hold on, see now. I think my job wanted me to come in today because this is the first day of the pre-season for um oh no for the New York Rangers. I was like, I need a break because 8 days straight. Nope. Chris needs to I need to rejudge, and re-energize. But damn, why I can't remember the name of it. Hold on, let me go actually to the app. See, because then it remind me. Night of the Reaper. It's like a 80s. It's kind of like it takes place in the 80s. This young girl in the beginning, it kind of like plays like Scream, where she's babysitting this kid and she's being stalked by a killer and that sort of thing. So I don't want to reveal what happens, but it's an interesting twist that happens later on, like halfway through the film. I was like, you know what? This is actually a good one. I liked it. And then they also got the Black Phone 2 trailer on Shudder, which I don't know why they put that up there, but they did. Oh, so now I'm like caught up on here because okay, let me get up off here because now I'm gonna get distracted. But yeah, if y'all have not seen that movie, definitely check it out. If you want to watch a good 80s vibe slasher film, definitely check Night of the Reaper out. I was actually surprised by that. At first I heard about it because I think Lee from Drum Dums was talking about it. And I listened to it a little bit and I was like, okay, you got me, you sold me. I'm not gonna watch the whole thing because I don't know if people are gonna put spoilers, whatever the case in there is. It was like once I'm sold on a film, I don't need to listen to the rest of the review. I didn't know it was gonna drop on Shudder because a lot of times when I be wanting to see certain films, they don't be telling me where it is. Sidebar, I also think Toxic Avenger is out too. I need to rent that and watch it. Because I've been meaning to try to see that movie for the longest, but every theater that I've been wanting to go to, it was either playing late or it was out of my jurisdiction. And I was not traveling, miles and miles and miles and miles and miles to go see a movie that I wanted to go see. So if I'm like, I'll just wait for and I feel like at times, like if I like a movie, I will definitely find a way to support it. But if you want to have me go ways out, I'm not doing all of that. I'm like, I'll just wait until the movie is available on streaming and I'll catch it then and I'll support that way via I rent it or I buy it. Robert says, I sought out Alyssa Milano a lot. She hijacked Me Too and made the Black creator of the movement vilified. She said, believe women. She denounced believe all women and said Hollywood celebrity is why Me Too is seen as this anti-destroy men and started First thing, the problem was when white folks started trying to um hijack the Me Too movement and Time's Up and all that other mess. And it was like, it wasn't yours. It's like the fact that if you have been abused, if you have been assaulted, whatever the case is, call it out. That we want to give a voice to the voiceless instead of trying to beat down people who are abused, which is why a lot of times people don't come forward. Well, shout out to you, Damon. I'm glad you're here with us. You talking about you beat leukemia in your 40s. And I think with him, it was that if I'm not surprised, um, I think he should have had like the surgery I don't know if where they cut out the part of the colon and then rejudge it or something or another. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not gonna sit up here acting like I'm Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and gonna tell you that Tylenol causes autism when he don't know what the hell he's talking about. And shout out to Kyle Kalinske, because when I was watching one of his videos yesterday on Secular Talk, he was talking about something with the whole Charlie Kirk thing. And in passing, he said, because they brought up the thing about, he was talking about autism at the freaking memorial that was acting more like a rally than anything. And he goes and says, oh, he'll probably say something ridiculous like, oh, Tylenol causes autism. Lo and behold, this is exactly what these morons went up and say. I'm like, could y'all be any more fucking predictable? Any more predictable? I'm going to listen to a heroin addict that got his brain eaten by worms and an Adderall addict, a man who literally shoves Adderall up his ass. Like, I'm going to listen to YouTube telling me that autism is caused by taking Tylenol. Like, shut the hell up. Sometimes I hate people. Like when y'all do something like that. Hate, 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 hate. Just like he hates the people on the other side. I hate stupid people. I really do. I have low tolerance for stupidity. Yeah, James don't look good because he got cancer. You know, cancer smasher, what that'll do to you. So Shannen Doherty wanted more than Love Lives and Love Lives. I said Love Lives. Love Lives and Strong Women, but it was the producer that wanted a soapy element. She was called a bitch, but like she said, stuff that men get away with. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess because it was Aaron Spelling, so it was like, yeah, we could do the charm thing with them being witches and stuff, but we also have to incorporate those Aaron Spelling-esque elements like you got from watching The Love Boat and all the other stuff. All those shows that he was doing. So you kind of gotta have that lovey-dovey stuff where Phoebe was so boy crazy because that is how they kind of made her in the show. So you had to have those moments. And I'm like, yeah, you could have the relationship stuff, but you also need to balance it out and not make it so cheesy with the supernatural stuff. You could find that balance. You could have brought a bit of the Sam and Dean Winchester-esque tone to it, but also bring in a little comedy. They've been able to find out the balance of that. But then again, like you said, she said she was talking about stuff that men get away with, whereas like men are treated differently. So yeah, when you doing supernatural, they'll get to play off all those different things because it's guys as the lead. Whereas girls, you got to be pretty, you got to be sexy, you got to spruce up the sex, you got to play, you got to play into all of that lovey-dovey, fluffy stuff. I mean, remember seeing the shoots of them and Maxim magazine or other stuff promoting those type of shows. The girls had to sex it up. I mean, Sarah Michelle Gellar, all of them did it back in the day when the WB was what it was. Instant marriages and such. And she was vilified. She was one of few Republicans that she was a Republican. Even Melissa Joan Hart was anti-Trump, especially after going through the Nashville shooting. I remember when James did The Masked Singer last year, he still looked like himself. But I think it's like, with the cancer has gotten significantly worse. I think he was probably in the early stages of it. So he was still able to look like himself. But it's like, yeah, over the years when that sucker eats you up, came to stage 3. So it's bad and probably hope for a miracle. But stage 1 is the best one. Well, once you get to stage 4, that's when you really got to worry. James looked like Patrick Swayze did just before he died. Sadly, I don't think he has much time left. They probably did. Wait, what? You talking about Charlie Kirk wife? Hell, nobody ain't voting for her dumb ass for president. And it's funny about Grindr having outages at Charles and Moore. Oh, we'll definitely get into that story coming up. I need to look that up. 'Cause I was like, let me see if I can find that story where they was talking about the Grindr outage. If the homosexual channels was talking about it. You know what's another movie I need to see too, together? Wait, what? They said China turns gay couple straight with AI and Dave Franco filmed together. Get the fuck out of here. I said, this is what we doing? Yeah, because I was like, damn, I should have probably looked that story up before I came on here. Oh yeah, I found it. Hold on. 'Cause I was like, yeah, we need to make that a story too. Hold on. I don't know why I was there because I was like, I don't think I was going to talk about it, but yeah, we are. And now I have to pull up the picture, so we'll get into that. I'm like, should I tack it on at the end or should I tack it on along with uh I was like, should I tack it on? Well, I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll find a way to slide it in when it needs to be slid in. So hold on to your butts, in the words of Samuel L. Jackson in the original Jurassic Park. Nancy, okay, you said Emma Watson of Harry Potter fame says she misses acting but not promoting the films. That's why she left the industry, saying, imagine being a kid and having Yeah, I mean that's what Hollywood is. It's not only just about acting. It's you got to get out there and promote. It's the same thing with music. If you're a musician, you got to get out there. You got to do interviews. You got to talk about. You got to do the promotional circuit. That's a part. That's the part of the game. And so, I think maybe it's different for her because she was a part of such a massive franchise. So I get that. But in any movie, you got to get out there and promote. So come on back to acting, niece. All right, now let's get into one of my favorite movies. Let's talk about Pamela Anderson, because word on the card, and this was not what I was expecting on my bingo card when I read this article. But yeah, one of my favorite movies. Y'all may look at me like I'm crazy. I have a love for barbed wire. It is like one of my guilty pleasures. Seeing Pamela Anderson in that leather garb with the big boobs and all the other stuff gave me my life. The long blonde hair, the "Don't Call Me Babe," her trying to imitate Batman with the voice, like the very monotone, deep voice. Like I was looking for all that, and then her fight sequence inside the hotel room. And so that whole idea of, a bartender by day, mercenary by night, I love that whole vibe of that. And I really would love to see them bring that into. Now, there were parts of the film that was like, yeah, it was cheesy, whatever the case was. But for the most part, there were elements of that movie that I appreciated. And like I said, seeing her all dressed up in a superhero situation and the boobs were boobing and stuff, because I had an obsession with Pamela Anderson back in the 90s. And sidebar, because it was mentioned earlier, even though I was going to save it for this segment, Baywatch is being rebooted. So it seemed like a lot of things are being rebooted. Fox just gave it a full season order. It'll be interesting to see. And wasn't there a show before that Fox was doing where it was like a surfer um beach type show? I never watched it. I think it was like in Hawaii or something or another. I think that show actually got canceled by one season. Or I could be wrong and it's still on. I don't know, because I don't watch network television programs unless it's Law and Order. But and I love me some Law and Order SVU. Shout out to my girl Olivia Benson. But for the most part, yeah, they're bringing Baywatch back, and I might actually watch it because Baywatch was a guilty pleasure. It was a show that I definitely loved back in the day. I love me some David Choke Your Chicken, or as I used to call him, it was David Chokachi, and Billy Warlock. It was a lot of hot men on that damn show. Sidebar: remember Tracy Bingham, who they made a big deal about being the first black Baywatch babe, or whatever the case was? I had no idea until I watched it the other day that she was in um Tales from the Crypt Demon Night. She played one of the girls during the scene with Willie, the big drunk, when the women were in the room and they were all topless and trying to get him to drink. So playing his temptation, she was one of the topless girls in that scene. I was like, why does she look like Tracy Bingham? Come to find out it was her. So a little fun fact, because we talk about Baywatch, but nevertheless, shout out to Pamela Anderson, who basically revealed that she is joining forces with her sons because they have the boobs is boobing, right? They have a production company together, and they're working on developing the cult classic Barb Wire for television. So they're going to do a TV series version of the Dark Horse Comics property. You know what's another one? Because they've been talking about that. Well, Taika Waititi is talking about developing a Dread, I think, movie. I honestly think that Dread needs to be done as a TV series. Bring Carl Urban back. Have it take place like y'all shot it in South Africa. Go back and shoot it out there again, and give us like a 10 episode order. Like I feel like that's what y'all need to do with that. I could definitely see Bob Wire working as a 10 to 12 episode um series, because I love, and one of the things I've always said, I love watching chicks kick ass. Like I love action movies with women in the lead at the center where they showing they kicking butt and stuff. I loved Ballerina, even though a lot of people slept on that, but watched it when it came out on digital. I like seeing Charlize Theron when she does action and stuff. Anytime y'all show my girl Michelle Rodriguez, who my dad actually calls, he calls her Vasquez from Aliens, because she kind of gives that whole butch thing. So I found that to be funny. But anyway, so according to Deadline, it's too soon to say whether the Playboy icon will appear in the show, but is expected to have a different feel from the acclaimed Pan 1996 movie. Idas Anderson's big break as a movie star, Bob Wire has a 26% on Rotten Tomatoes and screw y'all with that because I love that damn movie. So y'all can take y'all 26% and shove it up y'all butt. And only made $3.8 million on a $23 million budget. Yeah, it bombed in the box office. I don't even think it popped in the top 10. I think it was like it came in 11th or 12th place. And yeah, I seen it in the theater if I didn't say that already, but I'm sure I probably did. So now, as you might imagine, the reboot will take a new approach to the material as it will follow nail hard, tough Barbara Kopetsky, aka Barb Wire, the baddest bounty hunter on the mean streets of Steel Harbor. Armed with her arsenal, motorcycle, and an attitude that just won't quit, Barb is willing to right any wrong in Steel Harbor if the price is right. The trade adds through the family's new production company. They will produce projects that reinforce and celebrate Anderson's legacy and that of other aspirational female figures, both fictional and non-fictional. Originally published by Dark Horse's comics imprint, Comics Greatest World, the Bob Wire comic book series ran for 9 issues between 94 and 95, with a 4-issue miniseries following in 1996, the same year the Bob Wire movie was released. Now, in the movie, a sexy nightclub owner, Bob Wire, played by Pamela Anderson, moonlights as a mercenary in Steel Harbor, one of the last free zones in a now fascist United States, where scientist Cora Devonshire, played by Victoria Rowell, wanders into Barb's establishment. She gets roped into a top secret government plot involving biological weapons. Soon, Barb is reunited by her old flame Axel Hood, played by Tamara Morrison, who is now Cora's husband and a guerrilla fighter, resulting in plenty of tense action. So there were a lot of ideas that was in that original movie that I don't feel like was well executed. But if you can kind of give that fascism, that freedom fighter aspect, especially since America is starting, well, I don't know if I should say starting to become, is becoming sort of like this fascist regime that this current administration is trying to put us under. So if they could play into those tropes and kind of give it like this gritty, I even say take the tone from, as I alluded to before, um, what was the movie? Dread, the Carl Urban one. If they can kind of take that tone and give it and bring it to that whole situation, I think that would be cool. I like the overall look and the aesthetic of the original Barbed Wire movie. Seeing a sexy chick kicking ass would definitely be awesome. I don't know who they would get to play Barbed Wire. I don't know if Pamela Anderson will be up for getting back in the outfit and then fighting people in those big high platform leather boots like she was in the original film. She definitely looked good shooting the guns and stuff. But just finding some young up and coming actress who could take on the role. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I know some people probably say because of the breasts, maybe Sydney Sweeney. Who knows? Maybe that would be a good idea. I don't know if she'd be up for it. I mean, quiet as it's kept, that movie career ain't really doing what needs to be done. So um why not come in? And I would think that, it would be smart if she maybe did a TV series. Now, Barbed Wire is definitely a property with the potential to be a reimagined for a new audience, and should it prove to be a success, then it'll be superhero redemption of sort for Anderson. The iconic model and actor has recently received critical acclaim for her performances in The Last Showgirl and The Naked Gun. I just think at the time, because of who Pamela Anderson was, people didn't take her seriously in regards of her being, an actress, because she was a Playboy playmate who appeared in the magazine quite a few times. Um, then she was on Baywatch. She always kind of played up the whole bimbo, blonde bombshell, who was a lot smarter than people gave her credit for. It was kind of like similar to uh, the way Paris Hilton kind of came across. Like Paris Hilton always liked to play the dumb blonde, similar to Marilyn Monroe. But I think the difference was that when they played that whole blonde bimbo thing, they knew that deep down they were actually a lot smarter than they were given credit for. So they like to play all that up. So with them actually wanting to come out and do that part, or want to revive that, I could definitely see them reviving this, because I feel like you could definitely take like some hot, big breasted chick and somebody who will be like, oh, she's sexy, whatever. And remember, don't call her babe because she don't like that. But if you kind of play up that whole situation and put her in this crazy world, then it would definitely work. It's kind of like I had a guilty. There was a movie I saw recently where they went and remade Red Sonja. Yeah, there's issues with the movie. It definitely looks low budget, but for the most part, I definitely love the action, and everything that was up in there. Maybe they could take the actress that played. Now I'm thinking about it, maybe they could take the actress that played Red Sonja in the remake and have her play Barb Wire. Because I don't know if I would see Pamela Anderson, who's pushing 60, want to be like, okay, I want to come back and reprise this role. I do think like, you probably would make much more as a behind the scenes person developing the script and producing and that sort of thing rather than starring. Or maybe she'll find a role that she can come in and play. I don't know. Maybe like some freedom fighter girl or whatever the case is. But as far as like leading the show and doing all the action and stuff, I don't know if I would want. I don't know if if I would want to see Pamela Anderson doing it, because I don't want her to, the older you get, you getting hurt out here and shit. But then again, Tom Holland, who got a concussion and he's out of commission for a week doing a crazy stunt. So I guess maybe age ain't nothing but a number. Because if we're gonna sit up in here and let Tom Cruise and Keanu Reeves, who are in their 60s, do the action stuff, that we shouldn't get mad at um the women when they want to do it. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are you a fan of barbed wire like I am? It is a guilty pleasure of mine. We all got our vices. It is a child. Now I feel like if I want to see how much it costs, and I might want to actually buy it, because I don't think I have the film, and I haven't seen it in a minute. So now I want to revisit it. So yeah, are you a fan of Bob Wire? Would you actually like to see them redevelop and reimagine the film? And could you see them kind of, like I was saying before? I think it would be good if they can kind of give it sort of a gritty, dark tone, but it'll be light in other ways. Like you could have the little camp factor, but also just like ground it in like some real gritty action type stuff. So let me know what you guys think of it. And she don't have to necessarily get in the boots or whatever. You could probably put her in a pair of like oh my god, Doc Martin type boots or whatever the case. She ain't gotta wear like platforms like she's about to go get on the stripper poles. You don't have to have her out here in loose side heels kicking butt. You could keep her in, like I said, a pair of Doc Martens and some skin, like the little corset outfit with the boobs and all this stuff, and have her out here kicking butt and taking names. So whatever your thoughts are on this whole situation, let me know what your thoughts are on this story in the comments down below. Did I read this one? Oh yeah, they were. Can we spell how Janet Jackson? Yeah, we been knew she retired. I was like, look, how long has it been since she was talking about she was going to put out Black Diamond? If you don't have it in you, then don't do it. Wait, isn't Mariah coming out with a new album this week? Damn, there's a lot of people coming out with records this week. We got Mariah Carey, we have Doja Cat, then we got Taylor Swift coming out with an album soon. Madonna just talking about she's coming out with a new album. The word on the street is she's going to release a new single on the 10th of October. There's also a rumor going around that she might call the album Danceteria. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but um I get Danceteria because she used to work there and she did that was like the early club era, but no, don't call it Danceteria. I mean, it'd be an homage to like your past, but it'll be interesting to hear what she calls it. And then there's also rumors that she worked with Tiny, the producer, on the album. And I'm not saying he's the main producer. Stewart is the main producer, but Tiny came in and just, added his flavor. And I know she likes to work with a lot of up and coming people, but if you could bring like a veteran like Stewart to come in and steer the ship, which he's really good at, then that would work. And I know some people are like, Tiny, why would y'all have a reggaeton producer come in and work with Madonna? I mean, she did kind of do that vibe with Madam X, but Tiny doesn't necessarily just do reggaeton music. Yeah, he's worked with Bad Bunny. He's worked with mostly he works with Raul Alejandro and he does his own stuff. But when we're talking about Tiny, if you heard Raul Alejandro's album Saturno, it's not necessarily a full reggaeton record. He does play in elements of electronic music, dance music, that sort of thing. So that record is more like his Euro pop era that he gets into. So I could definitely see it would make sense if Madonna heard that record and was like, oh, I want to bring him in to kind of bring a lot of that sound that she heard from Raul Alejandro's record, because he took a big swing with that one. And I actually like that record. Speaking of Raul Alejandro, he's another one coming out with a new album, I think, this week. So a lot of big artists are releasing music. and how the Jackson family know the real Queen of Pop. Not you out here trying to throw shade at Lizzo. And you said the dolls aren't safe; they need to seek asylum. Well, yeah, we gotta go with. You gotta get to a sanctuary state, kind of like what they were saying with barbed wire sanctuary area. Because they're just disgusting out there. You said I love Pam, so whatever she does, I'm supporting, especially a reboot of her most iconic role that may or may not have bombed. Listen, I love Barb White. I have a soft spot for that movie. Didn't Janet just fin- Did she? Because I ain't been paying attention to what Miss Mamas has been doing. But I'm taking your word for it. Madam X wasn't even meant to be reggaeton. It was originally a different album until Maluma, not Maluma hijacking the project. It's kind of funny. Latoya follows Madonna, but I know Paris and Latoya follow Madonna, but not Janet. I wonder if they follow Janet Jackson. Someone on the clock, not the clock app, found a bunch of pictures of Charlie Kirk pre-fame and put them together in a edit. Currently at 936K. Is it wrong to say that not you trying to think he attractive, where he giving all gums and no teeth? Kind of like what's his name? The black one who was in the closet allegedly. Tim Scott, all gums and no teeth. I'm like, is that a thing that's out there with the Republicans or the GOPers? But anyway, let's move on and get back into the show, y'all. Now, speaking of all gums and no teeth, let's get on Gladys and weapons. Because remember, it wasn't that long ago that we were talking about Aunt Gladys, who was a standout in Zach Kreger's R-rated film Weapons, which you can actually, if you haven't seen it, it's available for digital download. And there's been rumors that's been going around that Aunt Gladys was going to be getting her own spinoff. I kind of looked at it in a way I was like, for why? Like, I don't understand why we're getting an Aunt Gladys. But like, I loved what she brought as the character in this film. But I know like some people resonated so much with her character. She was such a standout that they're like, oh, let's make a prequel. And I'm like, no, not everything that's exciting or a character that stands out needs their own solo film. Like Han Solo, which did okay at the box office, but did we really need a solo movie about Han Solo? Or many of the other prequels? And one of the things I don't like about prequels is that you're making this movie about this character, but you can't kill them off because we know how they get taken out in the movie that they were taken out in. So now you have to make this film where this character kind of is left on a cliffhanger and they get away with whatever it was that they got away with. Hence, we have Aunt Gladys that had this eccentric look with the gums over the teeth, the crazy lipstick and makeup, that choice of a wig. Like, she was just a mess. But anyway, so according to Variety, Weapons director Zach Kreger has more plans for Gladys, the wickedly talented occult expert played by Amy Madigan. Kreger has directly confirmed that he is developing a Weapons prequel that will focus on the character, affirming reports that a follow-up was in the works. He said, it is real, and I've been talking to Warner Brothers about it. This is what he told Fangoria in a new interview. There's a story, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's not bullshit. While studios often get to work on sequels after a film is a hit, Kreger said that he had already been mulling a concept for an Aunt Gladys prequel before Weapons even came out and became a box office success, grossing more than $260 million worldwide. Well, I need to know what the budget for this movie is. I think it has to be about, I'm guessing between 25 and $30 million, maybe less, what the budget for this movie was. That it's grossed 200 is almost $300 million. That's great for a movie of this magnitude because it doesn't look like when you watch Weapons that you need a big budget for it. He said, I was ready. I had it kind of in my pocket before the movie came out. Now, days after the successful open weekend of Weapons, the Hollywood Reporter reported that a prequel was being considered. The plot will reportedly draw from and expand on a storyline focused on Aunt Gladys's history that was cut by Kreger during the film's development. But as y'all know, he is working on rebooting Resident Evil. And I don't know when he's planning on shooting that, but it's scheduled to come out in 2026. So I would assume that he's about to gear up to start filming this movie if he wants it to come out on time in the fall of 2026. So he said it's obedient to the law of the games. It's just a different story. I'm not going to tell Leon's story because Leon's story is told in the games. I'm the biggest worshiper of the game, so I'm telling a story that is a love letter to the games and follows the rules of the games. But the question remains is, are you going to bring characters from the games in the movie? And I'd be like, oh, we're going to follow the rules. We're going to have the tone. We're going to kind of give you that, but we're going to put original characters in it, which I actually think would be interesting if they actually put original characters in the Resident Evil film, because it will make it interesting and you could just kill people off without y'all having to give plot armor to certain people. Because like, you can't kill off Ada Wong, you can't kill off Jill Valentine, you can't kill off Leon Kennedy, you can't kill off Chris Redfield, can't kill off Claire Redfield, you can't kill off all these characters because they're a part of the franchise. And it's like, who said? So we got to come up with different characters to have them in there, and you can have them interact with some of the characters that we haven't been there. But if you can find a way to tell a different story within the world of Resident Evil, then I'm definitely looking forward to checking it out. Because I know a lot of people are like, well, you have to bring characters from the games into the movies. And I'm like, no, you don't necessarily have to. I mean, if you want to bring characters in are that they come in and out, then that will work for me. But you have to be able to tell an original story, because if you're beholden to characters from a game and you bring them in the movie, then it gets boring, because it's like, damn, I can't have Jill Valentine get bit by a zombie. Then the fans will get mad. So now I'm stifled. So we just got to be able to tell the story. And so far, 2 for 2, Zach Kreger has been doing his big one in regards of giving us what we need. Well, still a little skeptical about an Aunt Gladys prequel, but because I loved Barbarian and because I loved Weapons, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, because, like I said, two of the movies he's done so far, I've liked. So I trust you that you're gonna give us something good. Now, if it sucks, I'm just gonna have to read to you on this show. But for the most part, I'm gonna definitely give you like some leg room to be able to do what you do, because I think you trusted myself and a lot of the fandom, the horror fandom, with 2 good movies that the masses genuinely like. So shout out to you, and shout out to Amy Madigan, who is finally getting her just due as an actor, because she's been around for a long time, and that's Ed Harris' wife. So I say all this to say, when you guys think of this story, are you here for a prequel for Aunt Gladys and Weapons? Still a little on the fence about it, but if he said that he got an idea, okay, I'm willing to be open minded and see what it is you're going to offer. And then if it's good, I'll praise it. If it's not, I'm gonna read you down to the ground. Be like, you should have just left that thing in the vault like it was intended. But because Warner Brothers wants to capitalize off the success of Weapons, and you giving into that, this is what happened. Now it backfired. So I'm hoping for the former, not the latter. So whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments down below. We definitely are movie heavy today because there's not a lot going on celebrity wise, or all that good stuff. A Gladys prequel would be good to see how she became the way she is. I'm like, Chad, you could have told us that in one scene. But like I said, if you could find a way to stretch it out and make it interesting, I'll check. I mean, I'll watch it. People complain about whopping up on her new album. They're lucky Cardi didn't include Bunny Press, like what, and bongos. Yeah, that is true. Because they feel like they cooking the books. Like academics, lame ass, decided to go in on Cardi about something like, yeah, you inflated the situation because you were adding old song on there. And then Cardi's about, oh, my fans want it. I'm like, sis, we all got Spotify and we all got Apple Music, or some of us got the Amazon Prime app, and they got all the different ways that we can listen to music. You didn't have to add it to it. You knew what you were doing, and you trying to play us like we stupid. But look, it worked. The album is successful. I don't particularly care for it, but if you like it, I love it. I don't know about Aunt Gladys. My gay friends think her look is iconic. I said, y'all have no standards. Well, I think it's iconic because they could dress like her for Halloween, and you already know there's going to be a lot of Aunt Gladyses running around in these streets with that look. So that's probably why. But yeah, that look was a choice. I'm sitting there looking at the screen like, what is that? I'm like, no, ma'am. You are creepy looking. And the fact that you had Wong, because I can't remember his name in the movie. Wong's homosexual husband letting that bitch in the house when Wong was looking at her like, I don't know why you let her in. Of course, the white man let her ass in, and then what happens. I'm like, so y'all not really letting this girl. She's talking about, can I get a bowl with some water? Bitch, what are you, a dog? It's like, why you asking for a bowl? And he gives it to her, fills it up. She takes the hair, wraps around a stick, puts it in the water. I was like, this is creeping me out. And the fact that these people, this man is complying. When, of course, you got the homosexual of color with the damn sense. Then we see the craziness that ensues with that. Not Cleveland saying meh. Zach Cregger should focus on Resident Evil as long as he makes Chris Red. Here you go. Well, we could definitely use a closeted, roided out, overcompensating frat bro. You talking about like so you want somebody from MAGA in this damn movie? Because there's a lot of those. All right, y'all. So it looks like we are down to our final 4 topics. So before we get to those final 4, if you could please do me a solid, hit that like button, smash the notification bell, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, all that good stuff so you know when we go live with a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Please and thank you. I definitely appreciate all of y'all. I don't know if I say it enough, but yes, I definitely appreciate a lot of y'all that come into the live chat, key with me, communicate, all that good stuff. Y'all definitely keep, this whole situation going in regards to all of that. Now, without further ado, it's time to read these holes at the View because y'all tried it with that corny ass statement that y'all gave yesterday. So yeah, yesterday being Monday, um, the View were dragged after they went 2 days without addressing what happened to Jimmy Kimmel and the people over at the FCC and Donald Trump and all the other ones that's asserting themselves into our constitutional rights of free speech and being able to say what we want to say without ridicule, which we all know that's what that was. They keep trying to hide behind the whole fact of saying, oh, it was Charlie Kirk, or he said something negative about Charlie. And he didn't say anything negative about Charlie Kirk. What he said was he went in on Trump's response about Charlie Kirk. It was never about Charlie Kirk. He doesn't care about this kid because if he did, he wouldn't have did a whole 45-minute rant about autism and hating his opponents and turning it into this rally it literally was a trigger for me because it's someone who had to work his rally before he became president at Madison Square Garden. It was literally a rambling fest. He just says a whole bunch, like there's no script, no teleprompter. He just says whatever comes out of his mouth. Y'all laugh. It's funny. It's like your old crazy uncle up there who's been drunk or probably done too many shrooms and just spewing off at the mouth about a bunch of crazy unfiltered crap, and y'all sit and laugh and think it's funny. But except he has the nuclear codes. That's the only difference between this one. It's like he literally has the world in the palm of his hands. He's one of the most powerful politicians in the United States. So we need to stop the thing of like thinking this is some WWE match. Now, speaking of WWE, they literally turned Charlie Kirk's memorial into a Wrestle Goddamn Mania. That's what it felt like. You got sparkles going off as Erica with 3 Ks, Kirk's horrible Barbie doll hair extensions coming out on the stage trying to give this Lifetime Movie of the Week performance of her husband Pamela. It was a one full-on grift. It was a lot of acting, bad acting, and people were sitting there eating it up like it was cute. And then I've seen them videos online of y'all are some nasty motherfathers, those of y'all that went to this event, because they showed how y'all trashed that arena after the whole thing was over. All the garbage and everything that was all over the street. Y'all, like, were y'all raised in a goddamn wilderness? Y'all don't know how to go somewhere and just clean up and pick up behind yourself? Me working at Madison Square Garden, the place don't even look that messy, but y'all, that's the way y'all left it up in there. But anyway, so after being dragged on social media for being silent about it, Whoopi Goldberg took herself over there during Hot Topics, and instead of just addressing it, she felt the need to scold us because we dragging y'all over the fact that, yeah, y'all was being silent because ABC told y'all to shut the fuck up. Be good ladies, put your head down, because we're going to be looking into you next, which is what the guy over there at the FCC said he was going to be. He said, yeah, we're going to be looking into The View. And so they've been kind of keeping their head down. But now that things have cooled, Jimmy Kimmel will be back tonight, even though there were some channels that said they will not be broadcasting it. But I'm sure you can go on YouTube and other places. The episodes, all the episodes will be up there. So who still watches broadcast television in 2025? Like, there's so many ways we can get around to watching the things we need to watch. So you thinking you doing us a favor by not broadcasting shows? I mean, in New York, we good. But for the most part, you thinking you do anybody a favor? We have something called the internet. Old people, boomers, silent age, those of you who are old and not understanding how the world works now, we have something called the internet. We don't need to go and wait on channel 7 or whatever area you showing it in some small town or the Midwest or whatever to be able to see what we need to see. There are ways we can get around to it. So if you're thinking that you doing people a solid by not airing it, you're only hurting yourself. Well, what's the company? Was it Nexstar that said that they wasn't playing it? One of them idiots. So I do have the clip of her going in and chastising us. And then we'll come back and I'll read these broads down to the floor. Please hold.
Did y'all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel? I mean, have you watched the show over the last 29 seasons? Yes. So no one silences us. And to all my friends in Italy who reached out, you have to know it's okay. We're still here. We're still broadcasting. And when the news broke last week about Jimmy Kimmel's suspension, we took a breath to see if Jimmy was going to say anything about it first. We did the same thing with Stephen Colbert. Then our show was on tape on Friday. But we are live here today. And we're getting into it now. Okay?
Hold on, I'm gonna pause that before we get to the rest of the thing, because I feel like that's a good gap space. Number one, Whoopi, you full of shit. Number two, Jimmy Kimmel was suspended on a Wednesday. That's when it came out. At night. That's when we found out the story, because when I was on my way home, I forgot what show. I told you I work 8 days. The days are blurred. I don't remember which show I was working. But nevertheless, I was working. I think I was working at, was probably a City Field. But anyway, so Wednesday is when the news broke. You were live on Thursday. Don't try to act like this is not the first time that y'all have broke news, preempted certain things just to put something that broke in the forefront. And yeah, the Stephen Colbert thing was different. I don't think it was because it was Paramount, it was new, it was fresh. Stephen Colbert came out and immediately said what he said. So yeah, y'all responded to it. So there wasn't like this gap space. Jimmy Kimmel to this day, even though he's coming back tonight, has still not talked about what had happened. He's probably going to save all of that for when he does the episode tonight, talking about everything that happened. He's going to be bigger than ever. I think he'll also be like, you know what? I'm going to give y'all the finger. Y'all can sit and spin on this ABC and Disney. My contract, I'm not going to renew it. And then I'll just go on a streaming service, maybe Netflix, or maybe do something on YouTube, make a crap ton of money there. Him and Colbert need to do the same thing. Just kind of go on into the streaming world now, and you'll be bigger there, because legacy media, network television is dying. So if the FCC, Brandon Carr, that's his name, and I couldn't remember the name, but it was like, yeah, I got a Brendan Carr, I should say, not Brandon, Brendan. The FCC commissioner. He's the one that started all this mess. He's the one that went after Colbert because, they want to get that merger and everything going with Skydance and Paramount Plus. So in order to do his bidding, Trump's bidding, he's like, yeah, y'all need to go after so-and-so because these are the people that be making fun of me because, he has no sense of humor. He can't laugh at himself. I was surprised he was able to laugh at himself at that Comedy Central roast. But now that he's president, you make one little joke about it, maybe because he realized, oh, it's a roast. You have to kind of go along with it. It's, it's all about performance and perception. But when he's not in on the joke, when he's not prepped for it, when it's not something that where people have to convince, look, it's just 2 hours, whatever, they probably shot it for 5 hours, judged it down to 2, whatever. I don't know. I wasn't there. But you know how they usually do these shows. They do them for hours and hours, and then they cut it down to make it into one little package. So as long as he's in on this situation, then he can be like, yeah, I can laugh and all that other stuff. And then I'll go along with it. But when it's not at his expense, when he's not in on this situation, then it becomes a problem. Then he becomes sensitive. Then he wants to get rid of anybody that says anything remotely against him. Like he said at Charlie Kirk's memorial, oh, I hate my opponents. Maybe they'll be able to convince me otherwise. I'm like, why the fuck I got to convince an 80-year-old man to not hate someone who doesn't share the same view? And then you had, his Fredo, aka the king of the booger sugar, Don Jr., get up there with his lisp and them baby teeth. He got, what is up with all these GOPers with baby teeth in their damn mouth? Y'all need a good dental plan. So y'all sit there cutting all these damn medical insurance things. Maybe y'all need to use some of that insurance to get some things fixed on y'all. So, including getting you a good dentist or some better veneers. So he goes up there and makes it all about him. So it's like apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Well, y'all made it more about y'all than this kid. And then you're selling merch at the event. Why are you selling merch at a memorial? Which, if y'all unpack all of this, I don't know why it's so hard for people to understand. Maybe y'all need them shades from that movie They Live so y'all can really see beyond the bullshit, which is these people do not care about you. All they care about is using this situation as a way to further their propaganda, even down to the point of Stephen Miller, who's always yelling. Why are you always yelling? Like, bring it down to a 4. Between a 1 to 12, bring it down to a 4. You always screaming, you always mad. I just think just like this tiny little gremlin with a receding hairline who just sits up there and is always pissed about stuff because probably you got your ass beat in school every damn day and you feel like because you got all this power and stuff that it makes you feel like a man. But you still be that squirmy little brat that got his ass beat in school. Up there with all that Hitler bullshit, because a lot of that was taken out of the Third Reich handbook. That was the stuff that he was saying up there. Y'all don't accomplish something. Y'all don't do nothing. And I said, for that one finger you point, the mother 4 is pointing at you in this administration, because what have y'all passed that is helping the American people since y'all been in office? I'll wait. And if y'all sit up in there and think that y'all wanted that big bullshit bill, you're an idiot. Because you even know what's in it and how that is going to affect you, when a lot of it is expected to go into place when the next administration comes in. That was intentional. So then you go and blame whoever the next president is, while it was them that started this mess the whole time. So with Whoopi and them saying all this, because she went hard on trying to make it seem like, well, we've been talking about this for 30 years and blah, 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 blah. Like, we've never been able to hold our tongue on stuff. Nobody ever silences us. Girl, you were silenced. And this is not the first time you've been silenced. Remember, they silenced your ass for a week back when you said, let me find the quote, because I got it up in here. Remember when she got suspended for 2 weeks in February 2022 after claiming the Holocaust, in which Nazis killed more than 6 million Jews, were not about race? Which I totally got what she was saying, because I think a lot of times people aren't thinking, what they think is Judaism a race or is it a practice? So I think that when you're talking about being Jewish, it is, some people think that it's not a race, like being Black or being Latino or whatever the case is. It's not a part of an ethnic situation. It's not your ethnicity. It's something you practice. So I think that's what that confusion was. And a lot of people of color believe that. So you instead of y'all having the conversation and having somebody come on to break it down and make her understand, you're like, oh, we're going to cancel you for 2 weeks, or we're going to suspend you for 2 weeks. Because there was another story that came out, and I'll get into that in a second, from the National Enquirer, which I'm kind of like side-eyeing it, where there was some of that the people over behind the scenes, are sick of Whoopi and a lot of the Freudian slips she's been having in regarding all of this. And like I said, it's like Kimmel hasn't issued a public statement. So y'all should have still been quiet on it and waiting for him to release a statement. Y'all could have talked about it tomorrow once the whole Kimmel thing happened and y'all broke it down, and y'all just went, and y'all could have used that as a springboard to be like, oh, well, Kimmel's back. All the things that happened with ABC losing money, the stock for, what was it? They lost over $7 billion in less than a week because they went against the whole situation, because people were like, oh no, y'all not gonna sit up in here and songs. And I keep telling you, it's not about just Jimmy Kimmel. That's not why everybody's getting all up in arms. It's the fact that, okay, when they come after the comedians, then it's like and this is something straight out of Hitler's playbook or a fascist playbook. You go after the court jesters, you go after the comedians, then it trickles down. Then you come after us. Once you've dismantled everybody on linear TV, on legacy TV, then you come after the YouTubers, you come after the Twitchers, you come after the TikTokers. Well, quiet as it's kept, they talking about they got some Fox people over there trying to buy TikTok, so TikTok is on his last legs. So y'all might want to come over to the YouTube, because that's all that's left, that where you can come over, and maybe Twitch, where you can go and say what you need to say within reason without getting banned. So, that's what I just want to basically say on that but let's get into the rest of the clip, which it kind of confused me at this point. I'm like, is Whoopi dyslexiaing? Because when she was trying to read this statement or whatever the case was, I was hella confused. I'm like, damn, is my brain turning into cottage cheese the way she reading this, or is it just the way she reading it? I just wanted y'all to see what I mean when I play the rest of this clip and see if y'all understood what the hell she was saying. Please hold again.
To be clear, you cannot like a now, I want to make sure I got this right. To be clear, you cannot like a show and it can go off the air. Someone can say something they shouldn't and get taken off the air, but the government cannot apply pressure to force someone to be silenced.
I was so confused by what she was talking about. She was about, yeah, you can't force somebody to be like, what? It's like, girl. And that's the thing. The FCC, a lot of these people, yeah, if you say something remotely inappropriate, you can be fined if, people complain. Because remember, like, for example, Janet Jackson, the whole breast thing, she was fined because, that whole situation. If you curse, you say something inappropriate. Jimmy Kimmel did not say anything inappropriate that was on there. What it was that Trump is using his power and trying to be authoritative and wanted Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert silenced because they were making fun of him. And the guy got up there and complied. And now, what I was saying with this situation, if I was Jimmy Kimmel, I would, like I told you, I would give them my entire ass to kiss. I'm like, pick a cheek. And then on top of that, what I would also do is I'd follow the biggest lawsuit. So I wouldn't even come back, because I'm like, while in principle it would look cool because it's like the ratings would go through the roof and everything, but no, you did me dirty. But then again, if you're looking at, then from a business standpoint, it's like, you know what? You have to realize there's a lot of people that work on that show that depend on me. Yeah, I make a lot of money. Yeah, I can walk away at any point, but Guillermo, the sidekick, the lighting people, the people that do the audio, the people that work the cameras, the people that work at the catering department, the people that do the hair, makeup, and wardrobe, all the people that work behind the scenes, they depend on those checks. So on one hand, it was like, in principle, I'd be like, fuck y'all can suck the shit out my ass, and I ain't coming back. I'm just gonna file the biggest lawsuit and I'm gonna take y'all to the goddamn cleaners. But then again, I'm thinking about the bigger picture, and there's those people that work behind the scenes that aren't as fortunate as I am financially. I would be doing it for them. And it's like, look, I'm letting y'all know this behind the scenes. We gotta keep it quiet. I'm giving y'all 6 months. Y'all gotta start putting on y'all applications, resume your resume, because after this season, I'm done. They can kiss my entire ass at Macy's window. But I'm not going to do y'all dirty and put y'all out of a job, because I know like this was like something that wasn't sudden and y'all wasn't prepared. So I'm not going to do y'all this. I'm not going to do y'all dirty, but I'm just going to let y'all know that this is what's happening. So I didn't like the fact that, yeah, she railed against, then she went and said that they were preempted. Well, actually they filmed the show on Friday, which makes sense. But here's the thing. Y'all filmed both episodes on Thursday. You filmed the live episode on Thursday and you filmed the Friday's episode on Thursday. You could have talked about it during Hot Topics later on. That was enough time where y'all had enough information in that time frame that y'all could have talked about the Jimmy Kimmel situation. There was no excuse. Y'all are running scared in this whole situation because of what's happening with uh Donald Trump and him trying to be very authoritative, and everybody's thinking emotionally rather than logically and all the other stuff because they want these mergers, they're thinking business, they're thinking about money. But y'all need to stop being short-sighted, because here's the thing. While y'all sitting up in here worrying about all of that, we know it's the power of the purse. So y'all want to sit and continue to do this stuff against us, we're going to vote by unsubscribing from Hulu and unsubscribing from Disney Plus. Now, speaking of which, I need to let y'all know this, because then instead of them dealing with all of this, they decided to come out and say, because I saw this earlier, Hulu and Disney Plus, after they lost over $7 billion in a week, how y'all going to sit up here and talk about that we raising the prices again? So I saw, the standalone Disney Plus service is rising from $9.99 to $11.99 a month on October 21st of this year. The Hulu standalone plan with ads is increasing from $9.99 to $11.99 a month. So why am I actually paying? They said, so is it a standalone plan with ads? And what about they said the premium version with Hulu and no ads will remain at $18.99 per month. In addition, the price of ESPN Select, the service formerly known as ESPN Plus, which is a more limited content lineup than the recently launched ESPN Unlimited All-In app, will increase from $11.99 to $12.99 per month on October 21st. So they're talking about raising prices, and I'm like, talking about raising prices when y'all just lost all this damn money. So you think about raising the prices gonna help? And I do think, like, just because y'all letting Jimmy Kimmel come back, don't believe the hype. Like, this is not the time to, look, all is forgiven. Let's go back and resubscribe. It's all performative on these people's part. And it also goes to show that money talks. So when they start to lose money, they start to panic. And I'm like, and me, honestly, I do not believe that Jimmy Kimmel was going to be suspended indefinitely. I hated the fact they use that indefinite word, because indefinitely means you're fired, basically. Why didn't they just say, they just fired him? So I hate when y'all say suspended indefinitely, because that kind of it's I feel like it's kind of creating this pandemonium. And we know, like, when it comes to mainstream media, y'all like to keep people personally stressed the hell out. I don't want to have gray hairs before I'm 50. A bunch of them. I got some up in here already. I don't want to be looking like George Clooney with the full head of gray by the time before I even hit 50. So y'all like to purposely do all of that to stress people out. And then I like the fact that Anna Navarro, she came in and was like, thank you for keeping us, the fans, whatever, because that ain't the approach Whoopi took. But she was like, thank you for kind of keeping us on our toes with the whole situation, like holding our feet to the fire when we don't really be speaking when we need to be speaking. And then, of course, Whoopi had to keep reiterating. I'm like, girl, you being a spokesbitch for ABC? Because she kept saying, well, we always been doing that for 30. I was like, we ain't asked you. Like, we already know you trying to cut to save your damn job. But for the most part, it's let people say what they're going to say. We don't need you to come in and try to reiterate. I don't know if the Manjaro is pretty much just eating away at her brain along with the body part, the waistline, but let people say what they're going to say. And page 6, as I told you, they said reported last Thursday that the ladies hosted The View, which airs like Kimmel's eponymous show, had not been told not to discuss it. Because one of the talking points she said very much sounded similar to the source, where she was like, all the things that Whoopi said as an excuse, that was what was cited from the source. So, okay. Then we had, the backlash from celebrities, politicians, both Democrat and Republican, and the American people were coming out, where you even had Ted Cruz, aka Raphael, because that's his real name. Then you had so many other politicians on the Republican and Democratic side that were coming out saying, oh no, this is a slippery slope. Because here's the thing. And of course, this is what I said about you GOPers, you maggots. Y'all are always short-sighted when it comes to stuff. So what makes you think when we get a Democratic president back in office, like what if, for example, Gavin Newsom becomes president? Y'all already know he playing petty with petty. And so Gavin Newsom get up in there and is like, I'm gonna go on my revenge tour now. And I'm gonna Get rid of Fox News, who all they do is spread them but propaganda and lies. News Nation, that goes away. Joe Rogan goes away. Andrew Scholes goes away. All these other Candace Owens loses her show. The one with the man jaw, what's her name? Megan Kelly. In that closet case, she married too. Well, he don't have a show, but she do. Her show goes away. Then they send Piers Morgan ass back to England, and he don't get broadcast in the U.S. So if they thinking like you're going to be short-sighted, you want to be short-sighted, be like, oh, we're only going to go after liberal shows. Then what makes you think the other side is not going to happen to y'all? So just be mindful. You thinking it's cute now because you in power, and you think you're going to be in power forever. It's like, sir, we all on borrowed time. You're not going to be here forever. This is not fame. I know you want to live forever and learn how to fly high, but it's not going to happen because you're already 80 and you on borrowed time as it is. So if you thinking that you're going to be around forever when you just going to sit and rule until you close your eyes, that's not how America works. There's a reason why we had to cut it down to 2 terms and said we had a president who went for 4 terms. Know your history. But yeah, there was a story that came out also, and then we can get up off this. I feel like I said all I need to say about Whoopi and them with the BS excuse over there at The View. But yeah, there was another story that came out about Whoopi where they were saying like, yeah, producers are getting tired of her and a lot of the stuff that she's been saying behind the scenes. I don't necessarily know if I believe this story, but we'll entertain it. I was like, wait, I know I had another. Well, look, we'll just put this one up. We'll put the cast of The View up as the background. So, yeah, so they were saying that they tired of Whoopi saying like some of the stuff that she's been saying. Because remember, recently before the show premiered, she went and said that she can't afford to retire because of her previous ex-husbands. So she said, if you don't marry well, you got to keep working. Now, mind you, they said she's sitting on a reported $20 million nest egg. And they talk about her repeated on-air gaffes. They may be close to pulling the plug on her 18-year reign. Here's the thing. She didn't say that on the air. She actually said that in an interview with Entertainment Tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So the National Enquirer wrote this article I'm calling BS. So while I windmilled on her a second ago, I'm actually coming to her defense on this one. And my thing is this. I guess they're trying to say that she's coming across a bit tone deaf. Because she said that she appreciated that people are having a hard time. She said, me too, I work for a living. If I had all the money in the world, I would not care. Okay, so I'm a working person. And she makes, they said, $8 million a season on The View, which I guess some people wouldn't consider a lot, but $8 million is a lot to be making when you're doing a show like that. I mean, look, she making more than us. Where it's like, we're not struggling out here working paycheck to paycheck. $8 million is pretty much a lot when you working 5 days a week. I don't know how much that is that you would get paid weekly if you broke all that down. But that is a lot that you're making, way more than a lot of regular people. So you trying to compare yourself to a regular person. Mm-mm. And then they brought up stuff in the past that she said, where she apparently likened life for Black Americans to that of Iran citizens living under the nation's brutal dictatorship. Other points, Whoopi defended Bill Cosby, and we dragged him for that, and denied the sexual assault allegations of 60 plus women, because that was her friend. Don't also forget about the blackface with Ted Danson. She still gets dragged over that, and said any accused are innocent until proven guilty before pulling back on support. And it's like, yeah, they're innocent until proven guilty, but child, there was always rumors going on around Bill Cosby being a damn pervert. And then she also suggested that Chinatown director, well, child, you could have said Rosemary's Baby, because that's what we mostly know him from, Roman Polanski's 1977 Grape against a 13-year-old girl, for which he pleaded guilty to unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, wasn't grape, per the National Organization of Women. And now they said that network bosses are looking hard at a refresh, maybe even a total overhaul of The View's panel. I don't know if I believe this story because at this point, who y'all gonna replace her with? I mean, the View is the View. It is what it is. People watch the way they watch it. People like Whoopi, and if you like, it's really no point of y'all trying to rejudge the show. It is what it is. Let it stay the way it is, and that's that. So I say all this. Say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you believe the excuse that Whoopi was really trying to push forth in regards of talking about why the View didn't speak on Jimmy Kimmel? Because it was like, oh, we waited for Colbert, which is a verbatim situation. What the source told, what we mentioned it in the last show that I did, or maybe 2 shows ago. I can't remember. And so I'm not buying it because I'm like, Jimmy still hasn't spoken, but that ain't stopped y'all from speaking about it on Monday. Y'all basically spoke because of the pressure y'all were put under for not speaking up soon enough. And do you believe the whole thing about them trying to look to replace her over some of the stuff that she said on the show? They all, everybody sticks their foot in their mouth every now and again. I'm not buying that part of this situation. I feel like the National Enquirer was grasping at straws, but I do believe the other stuff. I'm calling cap on that story, and I'm also calling cap on what Whoopi said regarding the reason why they were so silent on the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. Let me know what you think of this story in the comments down below. All right, y'all. So now let's go on up and see what a lot of people saying. He was definitely giving MAGA. Well, so yeah, Sarah McLachlan announced she's going on Jimmy Kimmel, which is, I guess, is cute because they did comment and say that they were supposed to do there's a documentary on Lilith Fair that I think is already premiered on Hulu, whatever the case is. They were going to have Sarah McLachlan, who founded Lilith Fair, and Jewel and all them dropped out. But I'm like, wait a minute, didn't Jewel perform at Trump's inauguration? So, girl, she's a chop anyway. So we don't really see it for her. But I can totally understand the whole Sarah McLachlan thing. I do think the ratings are probably going to be through the roof. We'll talk about it in the next episode. Nobody silences us. No need to. They're happy bowing down to their corporate overlord. Absolutely. Oh, Jimmy Kimmel, it might be. I mean, if it is, I wouldn't renew it because you're not gonna be playing with me, and have me like always walking on eggshells. It's like, yeah, now at this point, because he's been made a martyr of sorts, and he's got a lot of people behind him, Hollywood and a lot of the fandom, where it's just like, it's not even about, and they'll be like, oh, now all of a sudden everybody cares about Jimmy. It's not about him. It's not necessarily about him. Yeah, he was a sacrificial lamb in this situation, but he is the symbol of, yeah, you're not going to come in and you're going to talk about, oh, we protect them free speech. We're bringing free speech back, which basically what he was meaning was hate speech. I want to be able to say whatever I want to say negatively against marginalized groups and not be held accountable for it. That's what Trump and all of them meant with that. But they want to call it, oh, freedom of speech is being about. No. You have to realize that you could say what you want to say, but there's consequences to when you say things that are discriminative against a group of people that you don't necessarily care for. So if you're going to come and say something homophobic, transphobic, racist, against able-bodied people, against old people, against women, against any other marginalized group, yeah, you need to be held accountable for the things you say. You can't necessarily just go and think, oh, I should just be able to say whatever I want because I'm me. Fuck you. Who are you? And say he really should have went after a parent. I'm like I said, I think he's just gonna come back because it's for the staff. Like it's those people that work behind the scenes. Like, I can't leave y'all hanging. And they've always said the thing about Jimmy Kimmel is he's always put others before himself. So I can never see that. It's been 18 years. I think they're looking to replace her just cause. Could be. But Whoopi Goldberg ain't really getting other gigs outside of The View. I mean, yeah, every now and again, somebody will be like, okay, I want to put you in this show or this movie and give you this part. But the steady gig is The View. So why not stick with it until those wheels fall off? Okay, y'all. So, let's get into this Diddy story. Because the diddler is still trying to find a way to get out of jail. And I'm sitting there cackling because I'm like, sir, just do your time and stop bitching and trying to find any little stunt that you can so you don't have to continue to do the time that you need to be doing for what you did to a lot of the people when you was out of jail. So the legal team repping Diddy has filed a sentencing memo calling for a nearly immediate release from prison ahead of his October 3rd sentencing. Now, in court filings late Monday, Diddy's attorneys urged Judge Aaron Subramanian to reject draconian requests from prosecutors and instead impose a far lower sentence in this unique case where Combs was acquitted of more serious sex trafficking charges. The star is set for sentencing on October 3rd because of 13 months. The star has already served in jail since he was arrested. A 14-month sentence could see him released almost immediately. Saying, quote, Mr. Combs' career and reputation have been destroyed, his attorneys write. He has served over a year in one of the most notorious jails in America, yet has made the most of that punishment. It is time for Mr. Combs to go home to his family so he can continue his treatment and try to make the most of the next chapter of his tremendous life. And here's the thing, if Diddy could find a way to, if he's showing remorse and really putting in the work to rehabilitate himself and not go back to being the arrogant SOB that we knew him as being before he got locked up, then I could definitely, I'd be like, yeah, get him out, time served, that sort of thing. I just feel like everything that he has done, it has been performative. It has not been authentic. I really feel like Diddy's still in La La Land. And I do feel like the judge is going to reject this like he's rejected many of the other requests, and Diddy is going to do some time. I think he'll probably stay in jail for maybe, he might do 5 years. This is already time served. He's done over a year already. So I could definitely see him doing 4 more years. Maybe they might give him 10, but he might do half based on good behavior. And then it's like, okay, whatever. At least you learned your lesson. But you have gotten away with so much over the years, kind of like OJ, but not to that extreme, because I do believe OJ unalived Ron and Nicole. So there was some hate behind all them stabbings, some passion. But in this situation, Diddy has been able to get away with so much in the time that he has been ruling as, a mogul in many ways, music, TV, media, that sort of thing. And he really needs to, I don't really feel like in my gut of guts that he has truly shown remorse and learned his lesson. So I do feel like when it comes down to it, he is going to be doing some time. So I just feel like Diddy's judicial people or legal team, legal eagle people, I feel like y'all wasting y'all time continuing trying to with these when y'all keep coming up trying to get him out of jail. Why do y'all keep trying? To me, it feels like y'all just banging y'all head up against the wall because the judge, it seemed like he's not buzzing. He's not budging, I should probably say is the word. So good luck, but I don't see him getting out. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Do you think that Diddy has a chance of getting out of prison? Me, I don't really think that he does. We don't. The reason why I'm cutting this short because it's still recapping why he was arrested, what the charges was, the trafficking and the RICO and all that. So we don't need to keep rejudging that. Y'all already know what he's in jail for, what he's been charged with, what has been dropped, and all that other stuff. But it just seems like at this point, the jury has spoken, the judge has spoken. It is what it is. He's going to do time, and y'all just need to accept it. I know y'all on the payroll, and you got to keep trying to push to make it seem like y'all putting y'all best foot forward and making an A for effort. But to me, I just feel like it's inevitable. You ain't getting out no time soon. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. That movie's career has been popping since about 20 years ago. Yeah, definitely. I do agree. Okay, y'all. So now let's get into this ASAP Rocky story because apparently he's calling out Drake over this rap beef he has with Kendrick Lamar and saying oh no, this is not hip hop. What you're pretty much doing in regards of this whole lawsuit situation. So ASAP Rocky And Drake exchanged shots in the midst of the Six Gods battle with Kendrick Lamar, while the OVO boss went on to file a defamation lawsuit against Universal Music Group for the alleged artificial inflation of Lamar's Not Like Us. In his L cover story published on Tuesday, September 23rd, Rocky reflected on testing the waters during the Kenny Drizzy feud and ultimately his decision to back off, saying, quote, "It was healthy for hip hop," he said of the back and forth. "The battle was between Kendrick and Drake, not Drake and everybody else who might have said something at that time, and that's mainly why I fell back." However, Rocky isn't supportive of the idea of Drake filing a lawsuit against his label regarding the impact of Kendrick's Not Like Us, as the Harlem rapper doesn't see any place for litigation as part of the hip-hop battle culture, saying, quote, "I just hate the way it's turning out with Drake suing and all that," end quote, he added. Enter quote again. "What part of the game is that? What type of ish is that? That's none of my business, I guess." Now, A$AP Rocky sniped at Drake on Metro Boomin and Future's 2024 "We Still Don't Trust You" album cut, "Show of Hands." The Six God returned the favor by making some time, said making some time, because I was going to say taking some time, but making some time to jab at Rocky on his three-part Family Matters diss track, aiming mostly at Kendrick. At the top of 2025, Drake filed a defamation suit against UMG, claiming his longtime label knew Lamar's inflammatory allegations in the Billboard Top 100 topping Not Like Us were false, but claims it chose corporate greed over the safety and well-being of its artists. Well, here's the thing, because if the shoe was on the other foot, and I'm tired of reiterating this, if the shoe was on the other foot and you was actually winning that rap battle, you would not be out here bitching and moaning and filing lawsuits against UMG. The fact of the matter is, you are not that girl. You are not a rattle rapper, and you got your ass handed to you by an intellect by the name of Kendrick Lamar. And so, I say a conscious rapper, a social intellect, and you couldn't keep up. And I do agree with that. Like, it is healthy for hip hop because as long as I've been alive and I've been following hip hop, and I'm not as old as hip hop because hip hop has been around for over 5 decades, but um, as long as I've been alive and seeing like how hip hop is manifest, seeing LL Cool J and his battle rapping over the years and so many others, Nas and Jay-Z, when they've gone at it, it was healthy for the culture. That's what we did. Was rappers kind of went back and forth with each other respectfully. I mean, there's still some that don't particularly like each other, as 50 Cent and whoever he's beefing with today. But for the most part, when it came down to battle rapping, that's what that was. You taking it to the next level and turn into a full-on blaring and literally filing lawsuits like a white woman with a bad BBL out here filing lawsuits against a company because you saying they chose corporate greed over the safety. Like, you was acting like somebody was trying to unalive you. I mean, was there a situation? If there was, put me on. I could be wrong. If there was a pow-pow situation that may have manifested more this, because sometimes, yeah, when y'all do be battle rappers, some rappers have taken it too far. Hence Biggie and Tupac. Where it has gotten to the point of it got bad. To the point we lost 2 lives. I don't seem like that has happened in this situation. Although I did remember, if I'm not mistaken, I did remember hearing a story of that somebody within Drake's camp got hit with a bullet. I don't know if it has to do with the whole Kendrick Drake beef, but if it does, definitely let me know in the comments because I can't sit and remember everything that goes on in the industry. I'm just coming off, thinking off the top of my head. But yeah, I do think it's type corny with this whole situation. I definitely like the fact that A$AP spoke out about this. And sidebar, I know there was somebody, I don't remember who it was, told me that Rihanna had the baby. Oh no, she's still pregnant. Because he just said in an interview that they don't know the gender of their third child. Starting to think Rihanna's an elephant. Because how long has this girl been pregnant? I feel like she's been pregnant for 2 years already. And a lot of people think it's a girl, but we'll see what the gender is. But yeah, I definitely agree with what A$AP said on this. It's like, no, we always, when it comes down to battle rapping or whatever, we keep it on wax. We keep it amongst each other. It's supposed to be a camaraderie situation. And yeah, you don't have to like each other at the end of the day, but we don't be out here literally filing lawsuits because our feelings got hurt. It's like, girl, go sit and spin. But I guess maybe because, some of the PDF allegations or other stuff that that was being alluded to about you behind the scenes, but you kind of put that out there yourself, hanging out with Millie Bobby Brown and some of the DMs that you put out there. So you kind of brought this upon yourself. And Kendrick hearing about this and maybe people chirping in his ear about some tea that we not privy to that he may know based on people that don't like you telling him some stuff. And when it comes to rap, we embellish. As when you're an artist, you embellish a bit on certain things. You should know that because you embellish too. So that's all I got on that. So I definitely want to hear from y'all. What do you guys think of this story? Do you agree with what ASAP had to say in regards to this whole thing regarding Drake? Drake out here acting all sensitive and stuff because he don't like the fact that y'all went in and let have on him over, his little feelings got hurt. Is he the rap equivalent of Donald Trump? That, you can't take a joke or you can't take a good read from somebody within hip hop that out rapped you? But anyway, let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. Funny enough, I've been noticing on TikTok a lot of it because the other day I was like, I don't know, I think something happened and I was panicking and I was trying to figure out, I don't remember exactly what it was. It was something that was going on. And then all of a sudden I went and I turned on something and breaking dishes. I'm like, why is all of a sudden breaking dishes becoming trendy? So I do think like, yeah, it's starting to make its way around TikTok and stuff. Might have been Instagram too. So yeah, that song is definitely making the rounds. So I believe it. That was a good song. I don't think that was ever released as a single though. All right, y'all. So hold on, because I need to um I gotta make this a story. Because we do have, before we get to the drag race tea, we're gonna get into this homosexual news. All right. So now let's get into some homosexual news. And let's talk about this massive Grindr outage yet again that happens to deal with Republicans. So there was apparently, and this happened before, this also happened at the RNC. I think it was in Colorado or something or another. There was a massive Grindr outage. And it happened with all the closeted conservatives that attended the Charlie Kirk memorial service. And so, if y'all was wondering why the bathrooms was packed up in that place, now you know. Y'all was turning that place into a full-on tea room. So, shout out to Out for this story that we're about to get into. As I pull up a little background photo. All right, so right-wing personality Charlie Kirk's memorial service took place in Glendale, Arizona on Sunday, and surely by a complete coincidence, Thunder experienced outages in the area around the same time. Now, reports claim that tens of thousands of people attended the memorial for the controversial podcaster, with high-level MAGA politicians and other public figures flying in from across the country to attend. Was Mike Johnson there? Because I could definitely see him being spit roasted. Republicans were quick to try to pin Kirk's killing on trans people and trans ideology before a suspect was even in custody. And Kirk himself has made plenty of negative remarks about the LGBTQ plus community during when he was, he actually was breathing through them lungs instead of a bullet. Anyway, so in complete unrelated news, there were over 168 reports of Grindr outages on Sunday evening, a staggering increase from the baseline number of 2. A heat map showed a large concentration of those problems taking place in the Glendale area. The outages have continued through Monday morning, at one point reaching over 200 reports. That is insane. And I think, child, first of all, let me pull up the damn map so y'all can see. I am screaming right now. Like, this is a cackle. I was like, where is it? Oh, because it was on, I think it's called Right Wing Cope. And it says Grindr outages reported in the last 24 hours. This chart shows a view of problem reports submitted in the past 24 hours compared to the typical volume of reports by time of day. It is common for some problems to be reported throughout the day. Down Detector only reports an incident when the number of problem reports is significantly higher than the typical volume for that time of day. Visit the down detective methodology, blah, 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 blah. So it was around, well, they're showing like last on the chart is 4 o'clock, but I'm assuming it's got to be like around, like between 4 o'clock and 8 o'clock. It was like, oh wait, it says September 21st, 2025 at 7:01 p.m. And it literally shows like it spiked at that point and when it was an outage. So yeah, I don't know what time the Charlie Kirk Memorial started because I was busy working. So I don't know. And I wasn't even caring. That wasn't even a part of my ministry that I was going to sit and watch it. This is what they were saying. And then they have, I guess this is where you see the red. That's Arizona. That's showing up on the map. Okay, so and then they also one person, so let's get into some of the comments. The Charlie Kirk Memorial has caused a Grindr outage in Glendale, Arizona. Just a gang of hypocritical, closeted LGBTs angry at their own coward asses and anyone brave enough to be themselves. While they praise Charlie Kirk as Charlie recites that gays are to be killed in the street. Another person went on to say, in the wake of Prequel Memorial, what? Oh, I think they put Charlie Kirk in reverse. I was like, what? In the wake of the Charlie Kirk Memorial causing a Grindr outage in Glendale, from personal experience, I thought I was having a dyslexic moment. From personal experience, these aren't conservative men looking for other conservative men. It's conservative grandpas chasing either trans women or gay men 40 years younger than them. Absolutely, and that's usually the case. Another person said, anyone happy, happen, no, wait. Eh, I think they meant anyone happen to know what's going on in Glendale, Arizona that would cause an outage. Hint, the reason why Grindr crashes during the RNC. And then one TikToker also shared a screenshot allegedly from a Sniffies app at not State Farm Stadium. They was using Sniffies too before Kirk's memorial even began. Now hold on, let me pull up that clip for y'all because I was like, oh yeah, I got it. Shoes on my feet, I got them. Dick in my ass, I got it. Because I was like, let me share this tab. Let's go back.
Well, asking you shall receive, sort of. Because this is the Cardinal Stadium at 10 o'clock on the not popular app listed in the comments, but the other big popular app that us guys use. And in the interest of TikTok not taking this video down, I have done them the service of blacking everyone out. A lot of people at the Cardinal Stadium for this shit. A little suspicious. Well, asking you shall receive.
Mm-mm. And then one person went and they said everybody like don't block their faces. I assure you, he's absolutely not blocking out their faces. But Houseway, because didn't he just say that he blocked out their face? But I guess what you're trying to say is he's absolutely not blocking out their face. Oh, that's what I'm so slow. Because 9 times out of 10, they don't be putting faces up on sniffies, if you know what I'm saying, and I think you do. There's a lot of dingling shots, a lot of ass shots, a lot of, it's a lot of nudity that goes on with sniffies. So yeah, if you're gonna be using that as your TikTok background, you will get banned if you put nudity up in there. And then what the other people were saying in the comments. So that's what one person said. That took me a second. That they said it's like the Republican Convention 2.0. Another person said Turning Point members grieving in the bathrooms. Okay, that's exactly what they doing. Y'all up in there grieving in the bathrooms. Um, they said that they hold on, doing the Lord's work, and all of a sudden now this is journalism. Okay, so many down low men went, oh my OMG, knew they had crushes on the dude the way us had crushes on Zac Efron. They said the bathrooms will be big. Of course, the bathrooms. Then another person had air quotes, I'm going to the bathroom, sweetie. I bet you are, because you weren't there about to go get y'all about to turn that stall into a glory hole, minus the hole. You're probably just gonna go in the stall and get your other hole, well, all your holes plugged up. And then, yeah, so there's a bunch of them. So then, and then let me see if there was any Other ones then they say it's so weird how there appears to have been gathering of mourners at the stadium and a gathering of gays looking for hookups in the same place at the same time. You think the stadium would have been better about not accidentally double booking such a monumental event televised live on ABC? Wait, sorry, I meant YouTube. Because yeah, remember ABC, they quietly backed out and was like, we're not broadcasting this. And I think it was because of the backlash. They instead aired Celebrity Family Feud, and you had to go on YouTube and watch the whole Charlie Kirk circus. So yeah, there's a lot more comments and stuff in here. Whatever the next RNC is held, someone needs to organize a Lysistrata. Another person said, how bleak must Grindr have been at the moment? A sea of blank profiles just saying discreet or DL. Watching TikTok videos of dudes posted Grindr maps right now, coupled with just how much trash is left on the streets. Then around the same, that's what I was telling y'all about earlier. The fact that y'all a bunch of goddamn animals, the fact that y'all just left a mess out there, but you got the nerve to call people of color animals, but y'all were the main ones. That's why I said, whenever y'all pointing the finger, them other four be pointing at yourselves. They said MAGA has no idea who they are. They just want to be angry at someone else. Oh, please. That's their only emotion is angry. And they're mad because, and I played that one with Joy Reid. They're just mad because we're not thanking them for the bullshit that they're pushing for. I'm like, no, I'm not giving you the satisfaction. So stay mad. Now, in all seriousness, obviously Republicans can be LGBTQ and LGBTQ plus, but look, it's sad that we're in a situation where you have people that just hate being who they are. They don't have the balls to actually come out and be their true, authentic selves. So they want to other those and they want to discriminate and they want to hate on those because you get to be you. You get to sit and be out loud and proud. The trans girls, the trans men out here living their best life. The homosexuals out here living their best life and not worrying and giving a good goddamn what other people think. And they're hating on it because they can't be themselves because they worry about what their neighbors think, what their parents are going to think, what their church thinks, what their work people think. What they worry so much about what other people think. You willing to forego your own happiness because you worry about what that person over there thinks of you. Until you realize that you got to come to um you got to come in and learn how to be yourself and live your best life. You ain't never going to be free out this mess. So me, I'll be all about, yeah, expose they behinds, especially if it was Grinder. But yeah, with Sniffies, you couldn't show what them things was in the background because it'd be a lot of dinglings and a lot of booty cheeks. So yeah, I'm not surprised by all this, and none of y'all should be surprised about it either. So another day, another closeted Republican, as we like to call them log cabin Republicans. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are y'all shocked that there was a uptick in Grinder out there at this memorial where Charlie Kirk didn't even like homosexuals, but y'all was out there porking in his honor, fornicating, in his name, in Jesus' name, we pray. So I say all of this. Let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. I told. I'll be speaking in tongues. He said, can we turn the conversation into a Rihanna discussion? How Good Girl Gone Bad, Loud, and Anti are pop Bibles? I do live for those records. Say what you want about Rihanna. Rihanna definitely has done what needs to be done in regards of like changing the landscape of music. Y'all just be all up on Beyonce this, Beyonce that. I was a Rihanna girl, and I think it's because Rihanna was edgy. Rihanna was definitely out here just not giving a good goddamn what other people think, and I kind of always liked that pop girl who would also moonlight as a rebel. I'm not going to color inside the lines. I'm not going to try to give perfection, which is what a lot of Virgos tend to try to do and not try to show that they have vulnerable sides of themselves. I know because I am one, and we're not in Virgo season anymore now. We're in Libra season. But no shade, Onyx. But for the most part, yeah, those were definitely some good records. Rihanna definitely has a good ear for picking good songs and constructing a record. And remember, at one point, they was kind of looking at her as like just some throwaway pop act. Like they didn't see it for her. Rihanna saw her for her. And she got smart in how she was going to navigate her career. So yeah, I do love those records. Now you're going to make me want to revisit them. All right, y'all. So now let's get to our final topic and let's talk about some drag race news. So in 2 days, less than 2 days at this point, because half of today is gone. We should be getting the first episode of Drag Race UK season 7. And so now it has been reported that Drag Race season 8 has already begun casting. So if you want to send in your little casting tape, you better get on it. So though RuPaul Drag Race UK hasn't even begun airing its 7th season, it seems like Mama Ru hasn't had enough of the UK, hun, and its dolls just yet. The TV Titan, itself a spinoff of the American flagship franchise RuPaul's Drag Race, was officially announced to be returning for season 8 via the show's official social media accounts. And I think this is where, hold on, let me see if I can bring the video up. If y'all have not seen her, I was like, let me pause it because it was like, I gotta go back. I gotta bring up the video because we do a gorilla style on this channel. Please hold.
Calling all UK queens. Casting for season 8 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK is open officially. If you've got the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent, apply now.
Okay, so I paused her so you can see where it says sashay yo ASS. I was gonna say yo SSA. I was gonna try to do it backwards. To worldofwonder.com/casting/ but I guess you can put worldofwonder.com/casting. Application deadline is October 17, 2025. So you got basically a month. And so, like about a month to get your tapes ready and send it over there. And she's looking forward to getting the next season of Drag Race up and running. And if you could definitely tell, like out of all the other franchises, Mama Ru definitely loves the UK version of the show. So she's definitely, wants y'all to get up out there and get those tapes going. And out of all the many shows, I'm looking forward. I'm trying to remember if Drag Race has finally started yet. I think it might have. I might have to check. But I have my favorite spinoffs, but when you watch Drag Race and many of the other spinoffs that RuPaul has done, she definitely seems to enjoy doing the UK one. So I definitely am looking forward to that. Her coming on and doing that. And let me see if there's any more to add to the topic. So yeah, Kyron Thrax, as y'all know, won last season. I'm still was all about Lavoie being the winner, but that's not who they picked. But Lavoie seems to be definitely living her best. I think she's on Strictly Come Dancing right now, which is like the British version of Dancing with the Stars. So she's doing her big one over there. I keep talking about we need a drag queen version of Dancing with the Stars, and I would love to host it. So I'm putting that out there in the universe. Now, as far as the queens, there's 12 of them. That's going to be in the upcoming season. Among them is Sasha Colby's drag daughter, a Queen of the Universe alum, and some fantastic drag names, which y'all know I live for a pun or a funny little drag name. Then, of course, we have Jane Horrick, Nadine Coyle from Girls Aloud, Jamie Lee O'Donnell's going to be on the show, Matia Buena from Sugar Babes is going to be on the show. I love my British pop girlies. So I do know my Nadine and my Matia. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that's going on with the show. So yeah, September 25th is when the new season's supposed to air. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And yeah, so if you feel like you got what it takes to be on Drag Race UK, start getting your applications ready, niece. So I say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? We're looking forward to the upcoming season of Drag Race UK. And are you looking to be a part of the franchise? The time is now. Get y'all tapes ready. Start figuring out what you need to do to get yourself, on TV. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below. He said, I'm not even excited for season 18. We'll see what happens and how I feel in 4 months. You want to know something? No shade, but I'm not all that excited either. But I'm just like, whatever. I'll check it out because I'm a Drag Race fan. If I actually get to go to the premiere this year, for the premiere for the upcoming season, it is what it is. I'll be excited to see how it all turns out. I'll let y'all know, like I did with the previous season, and what went down, and all the drama that ensued, and take it from there. So, yep, there's that. But yeah, I do feel like we're a bit oversaturated with Drag Race, but the show ain't going no damn where. So what are we gonna do? Except no shade, y'all gonna keep getting beat by the traders. Cause yeah, that's what seems to be happening nowadays. I was talking about that the other day with a friend of mine. I was like, yeah, y'all gonna keep getting y'all behinds beat by the traders. It is what it is. So yeah. All right. So we're at the end of today's show. I want to thank you all for tuning into the latest episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. If you have not hit that like button, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Smash the notification bell. All that good stuff. We're almost at 3K. Yeah, we're like snail's pace moving along to get to that point. But yeah, and I definitely love and appreciate all y'all that come in, even the ones that don't really speak and just watch from a voyeuristic view. I appreciate y'all that come in and just watch the show. You don't always have to engage if you don't want to, but I love those of you who watch, who are bystanders, as well as those who engage with the show and all that good stuff. So yeah, love you all for watching. Thank you all for your continued support. And until next time, ciao, darlings.